Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the 5th round of Series 6, live from iRacing's virtual Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. This is an event of PCA Sim Racing, presented by Hagerty. I'm Rachel Whiteford alongside Ricky Springer and Taylor Burris, and our producer for this evening, as always, is Ryan Bauer, and he's using those amazing cameras created by Dougie Beard. Since 1984, Hagerty has been the worldwide leader in collector car insurance. Everything they do is geared towards enabling and enhancing the experience of automotive enthusiasts and making sure that the vehicles we all love and the lifestyles that revolve around them don't just survive, but thrive well into the future. Services include the Hagerty Drivers Club, Drive Share by Hagerty, Shop, and much more to fuel car culture. Hagerty, let's drive together. We're here, of course, as always, for the Challenge class tonight. The first of our 4 races we'll have here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This beautiful, twisty, turning, fantastic sports car course right here near Lexington. Ricky, this track is... Tell us a bit about Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, 13 corner road course, 2.25 miles, and this track is an absolute hoot for anybody looking to get that great balance of elevation changes and high-speed corners. As you take a look at the track map on your screen, you're going to see the start-finish line, work your way into turn 1, a very good corner, almost flat out, turn 2 up to the keyhole, work your way down the back stretch to turn 3, which some of the drivers consider not a turn, Rachel, as it's just a slight veer off to the right down the back straightaway. So they work their way through 4 and 5 down China Beach, which is the gravel trap on the outside of the track, through the S's 6, 7, and 8, out of turn 9, which is right up a blind hill, down through Thunder Alley, which is 10 and 11, and then down through the carousel, 12 and 13, back to the start-finish line. It is a great track here in Lexington, Ohio.
That is so true. And as always, we're here for your challenge class. And don't forget, they are presented, as always, by Z1 Dashboard. A version 2021.1 of the Z1 Dashboard has just been released, and with it comes the new Z1 Designer. The Z1 Designer lets you create your own custom dashboards for use with the Z1 Dashboard. So in addition to the almost 200 car dashes, track maps, standings, and specialty displays, you can add your own custom designs, placing the data you want exactly where you want it. Remember, the Z1 Dashboard also takes care of the engineering and strategy for you. Where's your competition? When should you pit? How much fuel do you need? Who's in front or behind you? How's the weather? Are you gaining or losing to the other drivers? Make sure you're maximizing your on-track performance with the Z1 Dashboard. Remember to use the discount code PCA21 when purchasing to get a 15% discount on either the standard or track license. Using the Z1 Dashboard to examine your laps is an essential tool to becoming a faster driver. To find out more, visit www.z1dashboard.com. Looking at our qualifying positions coming in here, Ricky. Matt Dialosa looking strong tonight, and I'm keeping my eye out for a certain driver that's been really pushing things tonight. I'm not seeing him in our standings here tonight. Terrence Tong, 19th. Where'd he go? What happened?
Yeah, I have no clue, but this is definitely a difficult track. And as you can see by Glenn Dennis, one of the drivers who has absolutely dominated the series so forth, with the exclusion of Long Beach and the heartbreak that happened there for him. But this is a very difficult track, Rachel, as you can see just from the laps we're taking a look at right now. Very huge elevation changes. That's right there coming out of the corner down through Thunder Alley. As you can see, they pass under the bridge there. But a very, very difficult track, and the pavement on this track as well is very difficult. You can see those patches right there, get the car a little upset, and a huge bump coming out of the carousel will take these drivers for a loop very easily if they're not careful.
Definitely the case. This track goes up and down. It's a roller coaster all the way out here in Ohio. So the Midwest has never been so up and down. And China Beach is a corner I've seen more than one car go off there, Ricky. That could be a tricky one.
Yeah, it's right down at the end of the back straightaway or the front straightaway when taking the green flag. Most recently, I was at the IMSA race here at Mid-Ohio, and that's where they take the green flag, is going down the back straightaway. But a very difficult corner, nevertheless. A 90-degree right-hander in China Beach is very easy to get yourself caught up in. And thankfully on iRacing, it's a little bit easier to get out of.
Certainly is. Well, let's take a look at your starting grid for tonight's Challenge Class race. In first place, Zone number 9's Matt Dialosa. For second place, Zone 10, Stephen Kemp. Third place, Zone number 2's Glenn Dennis, looking for a chance to win here tonight. Fourth place, Zone 13's Greg Palmer. Zone 6's Jake Geiger in fifth. Behind them, Aaron Nations from Zone 5. Got Zone 6's J.R. Gregory in seventh. Avjit Brewer of Zone 4 in 8th place. 9th place, Zone 8's Albert DeBater. 10th is Zone 9's Scott Rogers. And 11th, Zone number 12's Benjamin Loving. Zone 1's Robert Benson in 12th. 13th, Zone number 3 is David Purdy. Zone number 1's Kim Frick in 14th, with Zone 3's Tim Pruitt in 15th. Rest of those starting positions up on your screen and our 37-car grid for tonight. It seems like as the races go on here, Ricky, the fields are just going down a tiny, tiny bit. Not a lot. The retention we've seen this season has been huge in drivers. They're all staying to fight for this thing, but it seems that the field is just thinning slightly.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these drivers just kind of not being used to running a full-time series on iRacing. You know, believe it or not, running a full-time series every week on iRacing can be tiring, even for the people who have had iRacing for a longest time, seasoned veterans of the iRacing simulation here. But, you know, it can definitely get tiring, and some drivers would just like 1 or 2 weeks off.
I think that's the biggest thing of it is, I think it's the commitment, because it's not PCA. They run an amazing ship here for series. It's definitely one of the best I've ever seen. I think people just forget that you can't take a week off. You got to push. If you want to be competitive for a series, you got to commit, which means you got to be there every week, which means it's all that practice time for that one night, and it matters so much. And you got to put everything into it, because at the level of PCA, you have absolutely got to have everything. There is no half measures here. There are no half measures. You've got to give it everything in PCA in every single one of these classes, and well, we're ready for it now. Heading behind the pace car, Matt Dialosa and Stephen Kemp, your front row for the challenge class here in Mid-Ohio. Green flag waves as the pace car dives to pit road, and we go before that final corner. Car still coming through the horseshoe there. Dialosa and Kemp running towards the first corner here. Dialosa getting a good lead there, putting out for turn 1. They'll run up here to the keyhole at the top. Nice separation for your top 4. They're making things nice and easy. The field separating out behind them. A couple of cars 2 by 2, but not very many at all. Coming past that strange curve on the exit of pit road as they bottle into the keyhole now. Nice clean run here, of course. Don't forget the orange zone at the start of this lap is a huge thing for guys. They don't want to drive through penalties, Ricky.
Absolutely not, and that's one thing that can really diminish a race here at Mid-Ohio. The pit entry is so difficult and will really slow you down a lot, possibly putting even 5 to 10 seconds added on to just a normal drive through the pit road. So these drivers are going to have to be very careful on those penalties here tonight to not lose too much time on pit road, especially damage, Rachel. We haven't seen a ton of it with the front runners this season, but just a little bit of damage at this track with the high-speed corners and elevation changes can prove dividends for these drivers, and a drive down pit road definitely will not help either.
I think that's a huge part of it. They're making sure they're in the right position here to commit to this race, because 30 minutes doesn't seem like a lot. Seems like a really short race, no pits here, but it is a significant effort, especially in this series, to get your car into position in this short amount of time. If anything, it makes it harder because it's so tight.
Yeah, and qualifying is definitely something that these drivers have been putting a lot of work into. Matt Dialosa especially has not qualified, I'm assuming exactly where he would want to, usually following behind the likes of Glenn Dennis, but right now he's seeming to run away from the field, but a battle for second looks like it's heating up there, Rachel, down the back.
So he does, and we're looking for this one with Kemp. Behind him, Glenn Dennis looking for that move, because right now, Matt Dialosa running away at the front. Glenn Dennis going for the outside move into China bend. That is brave on lap 2, but he gets the position held. He holds it in through. Takes the apex at the next corner and will clear him. Beautiful move there by Glenn Dennis. Puts him to second place here, Ricky. Chasing down Matt Dialosa now. Dialosa's got a good gap, nearly 2 seconds. Can he catch up here?
Yeah, we'll really have to see of what Dennis is going to do here, but a great move through turn 5 that time to put Stephen Kemp on the outside. That's one of those corners where on the outside, anything above the racing groove is almost impossible to stay side by side. So a great veteran move by Dennis there to put Kemp on the outside, give himself the best run to go down through the rest of the S's, but as the rest of the field works their way down the front straightaway.
They are indeed working down that front straight here, getting across the line. Start lap number 3 tonight. And we've got battles all the way throughout the field here. J.R. Gregory fighting off Aaron Nations for 6th place. Just ahead of those guys. Behind them, we've got Chris Pippin and Tim Pruitt, as well as Kim Frick involved in this one here. A little bit further back, we've got action where with Adam Holland. This is a great one, actually. Holland after Smiley. This is for 21st place, and they are super, super close here, Ricky.
Yeah, and these battles towards the middle to back part of the field are usually the most heated battles. These drivers really trying to get every possible position for points. You can see it spreads out a little bit down here, down the back straightaway, but we'll really get to see exactly how tight of a corner this is as these drivers pound down the long back straightaway into turn 4. And back up to the leaders as the battle's kind of heating up there for the second spot, Rachel.
It is. Second place is definitely not done here. This is not Dennis getting past and escaping. Stephen Kemp, he wants his position back, and he does not want to give it up. 3 seconds to the leader. If these two fight for second, Dialosa's gone, Ricky.
Yeah, and Dialosa has already pulled out a very well-established lead, a little bit more than even I thought he was going to pull out here at the beginning of the race, but more or less just trying to give himself that gap if Dennis does end up separating himself away. But now back to the middle portion of the field, 24th place, a 3-car battle.
Very much so. Yuridaka is the meat in this sandwich of Stacey Owata and Ankerberger Son here. To see how this one will play forwards for us. Yuridaka there in that 25 machine, trying to push through, trying to gain up to Owata in this positioning. Actually, I believe it's Jack Stevenson just behind it is. Not actually Ankerberger Son, as I first called it. Berger Son is just ahead of this group, fighting for 22nd at the moment, holding that position. Some separation though occurring on midfield though towards the top 10. We're seeing a huge amount of traffic here. In fact, we've got a battle with Gregory and no, behind Gregory, Ubeta and Loving all over each other.
Yeah, and this is a very difficult track to really separate yourself, as you see Barua going very wide there over the top of the hill. Looks like a car maybe around there in the background, but this is a very difficult track to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the field with the long straightaways. It's really easy to get the stream from the car in front of you and suck right back up to the back of them. And then you're just one mistake away, Rachel, from the rest of the field catching you. Such a momentum dominant track, and you know, if turn 1 doesn't show you how momentum dominant this track is, I don't know what will.
Fully agree, very much momentum based. Benjamin Loving hits pit road though, unfortunately for him, as I believe we're seeing a black flag for an incident with Holland. Unfortunate for him. Patrick Adamski has also hit a black flag as well there, so unfortunate for his day out, as Dialosa navigates traffic here. 3.4 to Glenn Dennis behind him. Glenn Dennis again has about 1.2 over Kemp. Palmer behind them, another 2 seconds back from this grouping. So we're seeing big separation in that top 5, but we've actually got a lot of racing here between Nations and Geiger now. Nations really wants to move forwards.
Yeah, and these drivers not going to give an inch. As now take a little ride on board with Air Nations, but this is going just out of the S's right here, topping up top of the hill here, Rachel. Very difficult spot to see, but you want to be as far outside some lap traffic there and work your way through Thunder Alley, and a lot of blind corners as well. Thunder Alley, a perfect example with that guardrail to the right. And if a car does get sideways in front of you and there's no one to warn you about that, it could spell for disaster, something probably along the lines of what we saw at Long Beach with all the blind corners.
Yeah, it actually has a lot in common with Long Beach here. Mid-Ohio may look like a regular race course, but this definitely shares a lot more with Mid-Ohio than somewhere like Road Atlanta might, because it's narrow, it's tight, it's twisty, and if you go on the runoff here, you are going into a wall. It just takes a little bit longer than Long Beach.
Absolutely, and the bumps are here as well. Long Beach has a lot of bumps, and you can see these drivers as they navigate their way around the course. The cars just jostling back and forth, going over the bumps, so not a smoothly paved course either.
No, not even slightly smoothly set course, as Gregory makes a move there on Nations into China Beach. Gets the position secured here. That's going to definitely put things in a little bit of perspective here, actually, with Nations. So he's gotten past Nations here. So now it's going to be Gregory going after Geiger as we move forwards in this one. What's happening at the front? Wow. 3.6 seconds clear for De Alosa. About 3.2 for Dennis over Kemp. Kemp has about another 3 seconds over Palmer. So if we don't talk about the top 3-4 cars much tonight, Ricky, it's because they're not really doing a lot other than going very fast.
Yeah, they're trying to space themselves out, and I believe this is probably some of the most spaced out racing we've seen from the Challenge class inside of the top 10. I think most this season, at least towards the backside of the top 10, the drivers have been relatively close, but Mid-Ohio is spreading these cars out a little bit more than I thought they were going to, possibly due to the a little bit more beefier power that these roof track cars have to kind of get themselves out of the corner, and maybe not as much momentum as I was talking about earlier for these drivers having to deal with that.
I agree. I think that's something we're seeing. The handling on this car is a lot more potent. So we're seeing that separation of speed occurring more here. We're seeing drivers really pushing this thing. But look at this. J.R. Gregory, keep your eyes on him. He's all over Geiger now. He's made that gap on Nations. In fact, he's brought Nations with him here. And he is just accelerating towards Jake Geiger in the 9.68 as they come through 7.89 here. But Gregory looks like he's just turned this thing to 11. This car is moving, and he's just accelerating through every single corner, tracking out perfectly. He is coming for Geiger. He's got to watch his rearview mirror.
Yeah, and this is one of those tracks, as you can see, J.R. Gregory, especially coming down towards Thunder Alley, is right up on the rumble strips off that blind corner. This is definitely goes to show that getting some practice here is well worth your time, is just knowing where to go coming off of some of the blind corners can really help, and J.R. Gregory is definitely on the move to try and put himself inside of the top 5.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. He's working on that top 5, maybe even a podium if this plays forwards, because there's guys ahead of him who are not far away. Ahead of them, you got Palmer, who's in visual range. So is Kemp, slightly, theoretically, but he could definitely put himself into 4th place here without a lot of guesswork. I think that is reasonable with the time we have. 8 laps here, more than doable.
Oh, for certain, and it's really going to come down to, again, Rachel, just being consistent. If J.R. Gregory can continue to be consistent with the lap times he's running and with the type of speed that he has and the maneuvers he's making to get around traffic, I have no doubt that it may be possible for him to step up onto the podium. I mean, we're not even halfway at this point, Rachel, just 19 minutes left to go here in this race, and J.R. Gregory has already moved his way up through the field a significant amount. He really doesn't seem like he's going to be stopping anytime soon.
No, he's a speeding bullet right now, leaving that barrel and just flying unstoppably through every piece of concrete set in front of him. And we'll see eventually what happens, but we'll see where he loses that momentum. But at the moment, Gregory's got to be on a high. He's passing cars. He's going fast. He's got good grip in that car. He has a lot of confidence behind that wheel. So It's clearly working out for him. Our gaps at the front still widening, just to note that, as a little bit further back, that grouping is our tightest around Gregory, Geiger, Nations, Barua there, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. But as things go forwards here, there are 18 minutes on the clock. We're going to hit that midway race break here for you. So as we cross that approach that halfway point tonight, it's time to bring you the midway race report, brought to you, of course, by Z1 Dashboard. Don't forget, version 2021.1 of the Z1 Dashboard has just been released, and with it comes a new Z1 Designer. The Z1 Designer lets you create your own custom dashboards for use with the Z1 Dashboard. So in addition to almost 200 standard dashes for your car, track maps, standings, and specialty displays, you can add your own custom designs now, placing the data you want exactly where you want it. Remember, the Z1 Dashboard also takes care of the engineering, strategy, etc. for you. Where's your competition? When should you pit? How much fuel do you need? Who's in front or behind you? How's the weather? Are you gaining or losing to the other drivers? Make sure you're maximizing that on-track performance with the Z1 Dashboard. Remember to use the discount code PCA21 when purchasing to get a 15% discount on either the track or standard license. Using the Z1 Dashboard to examine your laps is an essential tool to becoming a faster driver. Find out more at www.z1dashboard.com. Let's take a little look-see doodle through our field tonight. Matt DeLosa has been running hot in this one. The 90 machine from the Rocky Mountain region of Zone 9. Matt DeLosa is leading this thing by a comfortable 5.3 second margin over second place Glenn Dennis. The 20 car from the Potomac region of Zone 2 is, he's putting it on here. He's up a spot from where he started, and he's moving through this field. Definitely sending good time, but not looking like he's catching DeLosa. Third place, Stephen Kemp. Started second tonight, the 137 from the Nordstern region of Zone 10. Driving incredibly well here, holding a comfortable podium spot. Greg Palmer is in fourth place, exactly where he started, the 28 car from the Milwaukee region of Zone 13. Looking like he's going to be under threat very soon by Gregory and Geiger. P5, well, here he is. It's JR Gregory, up 2 spots from where he started. Seemed to find his speed halfway through this race. The Oregon region of Zone 6, 218 driver, really going very fast tonight. In fact, we're seeing the lap car, I think, that is moving out of the way for him there as they go through the final corner. 6th, Jake Geiger, the 968 from the Pacific Northwest region of Zone 6. Although Oregon and Pacific Northwest kind of similar. Still making good time with this race tonight, up a spot from where he started. 7th tonight will be Aaron Nations, the Maverick region Texan driver there from Zone 5, the 9 car. Aaron Nations also been one of those cars that's been hot on the move. He's only currently down 1 from where he started, so that's driver stalled. Hagerty Brewer, P8 991, Mid-Ohio region of Zone 4, so this is a home race for him. Putting on a great show, started 8th, currently running 8th. 9th place is Albert Ubeta. Again, started where he's currently running in 9th, the San Diego region of Zone 8, 18 driver. Chris Pippin is in 10th. He is currently up 6 positions from where he started in 16th, the Kansas City region of Zone 10 driver.
In 11th spot, Scott Rogers, all on his own some right now as he rides around the track from the Rocky Mountain region of Zone 9 in the 737 machine, trying to work his way up towards the drivers in front of him of Chris Pippin to possibly battle inside of the top 10. Back to the 12th spot. It's going to be Craig Smith in the 74 from the Mid-Ohio region of Zone 4, a driver in his backyard tonight, as he's going to try and work his way into the top 10 as well, but some pressure from behind by the 13th spot driver, Tim Pruitt from the Peach State region of Zone 3 in the 329 machine. 14th spot going to be Andrew Hillman as he works his way through the carousel and onto the front straightaway. Be from Zone 10, and he is car number 15 tonight. In the 15th spot, going to be the 010 of Dave Purdy from the Peach State region of Zone 3, running the gold wheels tonight. Kind of matches the rumble strips a little bit, Rachel, so have to see if possibly the tires get a little lost there. Maybe he can come up with some speed, maybe pull up the track a little bit. In the 16th spot, going to be Jason Sherwood with the number 3 machine from Diablo region of Zone 7. So he's trying to track down those two drivers in front of him to make a battle for inside the top 15. 17th spot, going to be the 248 of Ankerberger Son. Had some problems last week and late in the going at, I believe we're at Branch Hatch. Had a mental blank there for a second, but had some problems late in the going at Branch Hatch, but looking to put his way up towards the front half of the field from the northeast region of Zone 1. Stacy Owada, P18 from the Canada West region of Zone 6, running the two-car, trying to work her way up to the field. P19, going to be Stefan Ubeka from the Upper Canada region of Zone 1 in the 25 machine, as he has some trouble from behind as 20th spot. Going to be Andrew Smiley in the Connecticut Valley region of Zone 1, the 167 machine. That's a great battle right there, Rachel.
Very much is 21st tonight. Robert Benson running back there in 21st, as I mentioned. Ransport region of Zone 1, 71 car. Currently back about 9 places from where he started instance earlier on. 22nd, Jack Stevenson. He's up 7 places from 29th, the Chicago region driver from Zone 13. Kim Frick in the 66 machine, the Niagara region from Zone 1. Also down some positions tonight. He's down about 9 as well. Unfortunately, a rough night for Kim Frick. Terrence Tong, the man who's been showing such huge performance recently, the Upper Canada region of Zone 1. Driver is down 5. Very unusual from him today. Shame actually in that one. Volker Krebs, 25th place. The 053 Canada West region of Zone 6, that gorgeous Haribo machine. Again, we normally see this one along the front like Terrence Tong, so maybe this is a bit of a Marmite track. Jeff Lashway, currently in 26th, 37 car from the Hudson Champlain region of Zone 1. He's the last car on our lead lap. He's up 4 places. 27th, Daniel Dugas, the 57 Hill Country region of Zone 5 driver. Another Texan here, up 5 places from where he started in 32nd. 28th tonight, Michael Bourgogne from the Oregon region of Zone 6. He's up 5 places as well from 33rd. Adam Holland is in 29th. The Upper Canada region of Zone 1, that 144 machine, is down 4 places from 25th. I can't count. That's weird. 30th place right now, Bruce Friobi, the 130 car, Red River region of Zone 10. Bruce is down 10 places.
In the 31st spot, working our way back towards the last couple of runners on the track, Benjamin Loving in the Florida Citrus region of Zone 12 as the car shoots across the track there, and he is piloting the 407 machine, trying to put his way up. Another driver, Rachel, we usually see up towards the front half of the field. 32nd place going to be John Bradley. I apologize, in the 10 machine from the Ohio Valley region. Back to the 30.
Certainly is.
And we'll give it back to you, Rachel. You can take the rest of the field because I believe only a few more cars left on track.
Very much so. 33rd there, Patrick Adams, who is currently running in 33rd place there. The Upper Canada region Zone 1 machine. With 34th being Andrew McCune, Rocky Mountain region of Zone 9. And then behind that, we have Freddie Lopez in 35th there, where he started. Pacific Northwest region Zone 6 driver in the 777. And those are our last running cars here, as we have no more drivers. That was, of course, your midway race break here from the Challenge class at Mid-Ohio. Brought to you, of course, by Z1 Dashboard. Well, the race has been going pretty well so far. That gap is actually down for Dialosa at the moment, Ricky. Down by a second for Glyn Dennis. He's actually catching it up as he started to hit traffic. Dialosa's slowing down.
Yeah, and traffic here can be very troublesome. There's not a whole lot of passing zones here, Rachel. Of course, going down the long back straightaway, like we saw J.R. Gregory overtake a couple of cars going into turn 4 right on the inside of China Beach. But other than that, it's really just kind of a dive bomb type track where these drivers really have to make all of their passes on corner entry with how tight it is, and especially after turn 4, it's very difficult to get side by side and make a pass safely, especially if you're up towards the front of the field, and really don't want to get into some lap traffic and end up stuck in one of the gravel traps.
No, something you definitely don't want to have happen for you here. This track is challenging, and there's a lot of those gravel traps that will catch you up in them. Could definitely cause some issues there for your drivers. But as we're looking at things at the moment, Kemp, his gap has widened here. It's now looking to be like 8 seconds from Dennis. Palmer, though, they're closing in. So as more traffic hits this thing, we're starting to see this top grouping spreading. Well, the spread is coming down. We're seeing them get closer. Gregory is coming in a lot closer now to Palmer, Palmer to Kemp. So this is really tightening up now. We've got those two within about a second of each other, about 2/10 actually at one point. Kemp is only 2 seconds up the road. Geiger behind him. He's about 3 seconds back from that grouping, but there's still a lot to play for here, and this could definitely... Oh, a car spins there on our screen. Oh, wow, that nearly causes a bit of a moment. That's Iridaka back in 18th place. Really affected things for him, unfortunately, but he managed to keep it on the straight and narrow, roughly. Keeping our eyes here just towards the front as we're seeing lap traffic factor in. 2 cars side by side, actually ahead of Kemp. This could bottle things up as they get to the keyhole. Where does he go? How can he find a way through here? Palmer and Gregory breathing down his neck. Kemp's got to find a way soon.
Yeah, and it's really just going to come down to what moves he's willing to make here. Of course, there's a car stop there on the inside. Very dangerous spot to be sitting. But as Kemp works his way down to turn 4 here, you can see the 2 lap cars trying to work themselves side by side. And that's going to make it very difficult for Kemp to try and make his way by. And really the next closest passing zone is down through Thunder Alley, which is several corners away. That's bunching those 2 drivers up right behind them, and J.R. Gregory is loving what he's seeing in his windshield.
No, I agree with you completely, and getting very clustered here as they run down Thunder Alley. Lots of lap traffic and lots of cars trying to find the racing line, of which there is really only one in that section. And it's blocking these guys up hugely. Look at this, they're on top of Kemp here. Kemp, who was so clear in 3rd place, now under attack by Palmer and Gregory.
Yeah, and J.R. Gregory is one of those drivers, we said, Rachel, that might have a shot inside the podium finish here, but almost off the track for the battle for second. That's going to give J.R. Gregory a great shot to move his way up to the 4th spot. That puts him in a great position to run down Stephen Kemp.
I think it really does, yeah. Kemp is in a difficult position with this because it seems like he's fast on these longer sections, the straights here. Oh, I love those camera angles there from Dougie Beard. Beautiful camera angles we're seeing here. But it's definitely a case that once you get into the twistier sections here after China Beach, Palmer and Gregory catch up considerably.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to that lap traffic, too, of where Kemp is catching them. The last lap by, Kemp ran a few seconds slower than what he had been running pretty much the whole entire race, Rachel, just because of the lap traffic. If you catch them at a bad time, usually about after turn 4, there's really no move to be made until you get to the end of Thunder Alley, as Kemp has just gotten into an accident there. J.R. Gregory now going to work his way by.
Huge accident there for Kemp. My gosh, 3rd place. Oh, clips the spinning lap car there. I believe that was going to be the 32 machine. Looking for who that is on our racetrack. 32 car there belonging to... No, that's 32nd position, I'm pretty sure. It's the 34 car, yeah. It's the Patrick Adamczak. Unfortunately, there, just clips the side of him and it sends that car sideways. My God. Huge moment there as he gets himself going again, but he's lost a lot of positions. Has to pit road there. He's going to have to, no other choice. But Gregory now assumes 3rd place after the commotion there. Palmer missed out, really. But with 15 seconds to 2nd place, I don't think either of them is challenging Glenn Dennis. And Dennis is on a tear here. We have 4 minutes 20 left, and he's eaten another second out of his time. Has he got time here to catch Dialosa?
Yeah, really
killing him.
Really only time will tell, Rachel. I mean, that traffic, like you just said, is really going to come into play here towards the end of the race. A 4-second gap, so Dennis still going to have to close that gap up quite considerably, but Dialosa is going to have to stay in the throttle and possibly make some of them more aggressive moves on the lap traffic to work themselves a way around in well, a little bit uncomfortable spots of the track, and possibly use that headlight flash button on these roof track machines.
I think those headlights are flashing pretty constantly around the lap here as they come through traffic, but man, this is getting very, very congested, and I think that's a big factor here. Really not a lot of room left for these guys to get through as they try and find openings, but this field is getting very, very close at the moment, and that's our biggest contest, because this is something in a single class series that these drivers aren't necessarily as used to, is lap traffic, especially on a track here where you see a lot of separation, because it's very hard to drive fast at Mid-Ohio. And we looked at our qualifying results. We had a 7-second spread. In fact, our 1-second bracket only extended as far as 6th place. That is not a huge margin.
Absolutely not, and it's definitely evident by these drivers here tonight, laughing considerably their way up through the field all the way to the 26th spot already as Dialosa lapped into the field. But Greg Palmer had a issue there coming out of Thunder Valley last time by, ended up dropping his way all the way back to the P5 position now, so has fallen off of JR Gregory.
Yeah, he has, and it's definitely changed that dynamic, because Gregory's now clear to really push here for Dennis. He's not going to get much time in this, I think, because the gap's widened up again, unfortunately for them now. Going to be a little bit further back here, I'm thinking. We're looking at about 19. Okay, so that timing is updated, so Gregory's going to be a full 14 seconds back here. Not looking possible to catch up to that, but it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, under these circumstances.
Yeah, and Scott Rogers, the Rocky Mountain region driver, trying to battle his way through some traffic here just inside the top 10. Jake Geiger right there, of course, as they work their way into turn 1. And Rogers has a little bit of right side damage there, which could be keeping him from really sucking up to the back of Geiger, but we'll have to see how that plays out as that battle for 9th heating up.
Certainly is. 9th place is definitely one to watch at the moment, as Geiger trying to hold off Rogers behind him. Rogers looking like he wants to try and do something here. Geiger's lost some spots. Rogers, he's been in 10th all race. Can he make it through here? But they've also got to factor in Andrew Hillman. He's up 13 places. That guy's moving.
Yeah, Andrew Hillman has moved his way up through the field. The 15 machine currently P11, so just outside of the top 10, trying to work his way up, but he's got a considerable amount, 10 seconds in between him and Scott Rogers, so a lot of time until he can work his way up to that top 10 spot. And I don't believe he has enough time left on the clock, like Rachel.
No, I think you're very right. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to make a difference there. At the moment, it is coming into those final race moments, as looking at the clock, well, 30 seconds. Dialosa is coming through China Bend. This will be, I think, our last lap here for Matt Dialosa. 4.1 back to Glenn Dennis. That's not going to happen. This will be our final lap here for Dialosa. Looking like he's going to hold this thing together. If he doesn't make a mistake here, commentator's curse to the side and touch some wood, this should be his race to win. That 90 machine should have this one in the bag as long as he clears one last car who's doing that most terrifying thing that you don't want to have happen in front of you on the last lap as the leader, blinking, and he gets through into the horseshoe now. And it'll be one more corner after this for Matt Dialosa to bring it home in that challenge class at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. He comes across the line with the win. Glenn Dennis behind him comes across. JR Gregory entering the horseshoe now. That'll be our 3rd place finisher here. Looking there at our Jeep Brewer in P6. It's coming down to the wire with Palmer, but I think Palmer might still secure this one. The guys ahead of him not fighting for position, and it's going to be so tight, so desperate. Can Jeep push it through? Not going to be close enough. He will come across in 6th place there behind Greg Palmer. Albert Debata there in the 8th place, trying to find an opening, trying to defend actually, in fact, against Jake Geiger, just behind him. Again, we'll hold that place and bring it home in position 8th. Hillman didn't get close enough to Rogers, or Rogers didn't get close enough to Geiger. Unfortunately, they come across the line in position as well, as we have a good grouping of cars here. No one close enough to battle for this one, so it's going to be running in order for most of these guys. We're not expecting to see a pass in that last corner, but it has been incredibly tight tonight. This has been one heck of a race.
Absolutely, these drivers have been so close. As you can see, Stacey Iwata now crossing the line. P16, the last car on the lead lap. In 17th spot, which is a car a lap down, was Terrence Tong, Rachel, who worked his way back up to the top half of the field. So pretty much roller coaster of a night for that driver.
Oh, certainly has been a huge roller coaster for him, but he makes it through, gets it done, and that's exactly what he needed to happen. But yeah, it has been a crazy one for these guys. They've pushed this thing to the limit, and we've had a fantastic run. Let's go to your post-race result. Mandy Losa brings home the win with the second place driver, Glenn Dennis. Third, JR Gregory with fourth, Aaron Nations. Fifth is Greg Palmer. Behind them, Ajit Brewer, Chris Pippin, Albert Dubasa, Jake Geiger, Scott Rogers in 10th. 11th place, Andrew Hillman with Craig Smith, Tim Pruitt, Stephen Kemp, and Jason Sherwood in 15th. Stacey Iwata, the last car on the lead lap there, in 16th place. Rest of those positions on your screen. Folks, do not go anywhere. We'll be coming back with all the crazy action from the Sport Series next. Welcome back to your sports class race here tonight for PCA at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We're brought to you, of course, by Pirelli. Pirelli was founded in Milan in 1872 and is a global brand known for its cutting-edge technology, high-end production excellence, and passion for innovation that draws heavily on its Italian roots. Pirelli is among the world's major producers of tyres, as in an OEM supplier to Porsche. Find out more about Pirelli at www.pirelli.com. Well, we bring in Taylor Burris, of course, tonight here at this sport class race. Ogren Gerlach looking like he's out front in qualifying right now, catching the last minutes of this, or the last 30 seconds, I should say. Taylor, your thoughts about this track?
This track is probably what I would consider the perfect road course to drive for any beginner. In fact, a lot of motorsports schools come to this track to test their mights because of the elevation changes, the types of corners that drivers will have to face throughout a duration of running a lap around this circuit. It provides unique challenges as well as very interesting opportunities in order to progress your way in the world of sports car racing. And of course, this 2.25 mile circuit provides the greatest opportunities for drivers to learn and improve their skills in all forms of motor racing.
Well, here we go with the grid for the sport class race tonight. First place, Zone 4's Ogren Gerlach, with Zone 1's David De Palma in second. Third place, Zone number 1's John Martin, with their zone mate Carl Baccieri in fourth. Here comes the Texas duo. Zone 5's Jason Brodigan and Ken Tubman from Zone 5 in 5th and 6th respectively. 7th, Zone number 3 is Daniel Florian, with Zone 1's Ben Lung in 8th place. Will Kelly from Zone 5 in 9th, with Curtis Krummel in 10th from Zone 3. Zone 1's David Snelling is in 11th, with 12th Zone 5's Robert Walton. 13th, Zone 1's Will Waldron. And 14th, Zone 1's Dean Chapman. So we've got the Northeast versus Texas in this race, it seems, guys. There's the rest of the positions on your screen. Get ready for 30 minutes of action here tonight. Don't forget, we'll get a chance to chat to the winners from your challenge class race in just a moment as well after the race starts. But what are we thinking? Well, how will this one go? Are we going to see another upset?
I'm hoping so, Rachel. The first race in the challenge class was definitely an awesome one to watch, and especially working their way through the lap traffic was a phenomenal race. And this race, I'm not expecting too much different, Rachel. The same cars, these drivers going to be working around the same course, relatively the same temperatures here, so the drivers going to have the same set of challenges we saw in the challenge class race.
I think you're right. Well, we will have to find out what will happen when that flag drops, because nothing we predict will be the same once the green flag flies. We'll see what these drivers can pull out and what they will get done by the time we reach that checkered flag in 30 minutes time. A lap here at Mid-Ohio, it's about 1 minute 20. What's our 1 second bracket in this class? From a 1:21.1, our pole lap by Ogren Gerlach, well, a 1:22.1 is 8th place. So we're not exactly seeing a bigger group within a 1 second bracket here, so should still be a fairly interesting race. Pace car pulls them away for a short pace run here. Of course, it pulls off as they enter or reach the pit entrance line. Field will be under the command of Ogren Gerlach alongside David De Palma in that second spot. Green flag flies and we're away before the final corner. And it's a side-by-side run here by Gerlach and Palmer as they come across the line there. Really close. Gerlach, though, does have a slight edge. Oh, tight. Oh, contact. Second place spins in front of your field. Oh, no. It's huge. There's cars everywhere. Don't do that. That definitely had an impact, Taylor.
It certainly did. At least 3 cars involved in this situation. Jason Brodigan is one of them. But it all started right around with Thomas Doherty, who had a big spin while entering into the first corner there, Rachel. And unfortunately, a lot of cars get collected up in there. 3 of them, though, with severe damage.
Yeah, that's going to definitely change how our running order goes for this. Ogren Gerlach is laughing his socks off in first place. That gave him a good early gap as we get a yellow flag. We have a caution on the track. It's a racing caution, though, I believe, not a...
No,
it's a
full course caution.
Full course caution here. I've never seen this before.
This is a first in PCA Sim Racing competition, Rachel. We've never seen a full course yellow provided on a circuit whatsoever in any situation.
No, me neither. This is kind of new territory for us all. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this one, but caution is out as the drivers, they're running reduced speeds here. Pace car will come out. They'll catch the pace car. They're going to reset, I think.
And that's very interesting, Rachel. I'm not quite sure if it was due to the fact of what happened going off at the turn one, the drivers getting into each other, and the shunt that happened on the very first lap in turn one there, or possibly an issue with the start there. But very interesting to see this at the beginning of the race.
We'll see if we can get... actually, we've got the chance to chat to someone rather special here, and Taylor's going to tell us all about it.
Of course, and as many of you know, there is a special charity race event taking place this Sunday, being put on by the PCA Carolinas region and the PCA Sim Racing, that is benefiting Operation Motorsports. At this time, we would like to welcome Jerry Widener from the PCA Carolinas region to tonight's broadcast of PCA Sim Racing presented by Hagerty. Good evening, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We are all very excited about Sunday's special charity race.
Little technical difficulties there, but we'll be right back with you now, and Taylor's caught up with Jerry.
And we're just making sure, Jerry, can you hear us?
I can.
All right. So, well, we have a special event happening this Sunday. Why don't we tell the others, everyone who's listening, what it's all about and the exciting news regarding this Sunday's special charity race?
Certainly, I certainly appreciate you guys having me on here tonight. Just wanted to talk briefly about what the Carolinas region, we are hosting a sim race coming up this Sunday night, the 30th of May, and that's going to be taking place on the Le Mans circuit. Everyone listening certainly knows about Le Mans, but the purpose of that is to, in sponsorship of Operation Motorsports, and that really is to to provide those folks there in Operation Motorsport, provide them funding and support for their mission in helping our veterans.
What inspired you and the rest of the folks of the PCA Carolinas region to put on this event?
Well, quite frankly, the Carolinas region has deep roots in this area in both auto racing as well as the United States military. So, I mean, right here in our front yard, we have the founding of NASCAR, as well as in our backyards, we have home to many NASCAR and IMSA racing teams. So, in addition to that, military installations are numerous throughout both North and South Carolinas, representing all branches of the service, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and of course the Marines. So, I mean, so many of us that are members of the largest automobile club in the United States, the PCA, we're fortunate. We're blessed to be able to do these things that we do. And we also feel that it's a responsibility to give back. So, periodically, well, not really periodically, monthly, sometimes weekly, we even have numerous function and events, happening throughout the year. And the end result is always, giving back and donating to charitable organizations, and supporting events, such as these.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on getting this event going. And also, you've already reached your initial goal of $10,000 in pledges for this event. What do you think the key success is in getting these pledges?
Oh, well, I tell you what, it's giving me chills sitting here talking to you and hearing that. It's wonderful. And I just looked at it right before I came on, and we're actually approaching over 1,000 over what our initial goal was already. And, we still have almost a week. But look, honestly, I certainly can't take all the credit for this wonderful results we've had thus far. After Chris Walsh and we first spoke, right after the first of the year, we were working on concepts and quite honestly, what-ifing things. I had asked our Carolinas region vice president, Mr. Jim Hess, I had asked him to take the reins on this early on, just needing him to dig in to see what our options, what our azimuth needs to be. So he took that over initially and did all that background work. So he and I went on a speaking tour, so to speak, no pun intended, but we went all over the states of North and South Carolina to all of our region's events. We spoke at those events, in particular about this upcoming sim race, as well as we advertised in our Tobacco Roads newsletter. And in addition to that, Instagram posts, region-wide email blasts, and so on. So you can see we've certainly been beating the pavement for these last 4 months. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Doug Atkinson of PCA National Sim Racing. Doug has done an outstanding job at also publishing nationally via e-news, emails, and in the panorama. So, as you can see, we've definitely been pounding the streets on that, but none of our efforts would mean nothing if it weren't for the members, the PCA members that have been enlisting in all of our efforts and stepping up to the plate and donating accordingly. So we really have all of the members that have stepped up to the plate and donated to this worthy cause. We have them to thank.
Well, one more question before we let you go. Any plans to do any more special events in the future?
Oh, absolutely. We are working on additional special events. I did kind of point out as Carolina's region, I mean, we do hold events throughout the year, benefiting charities and things of that nature, numerous of those, far too much to mention. But we are in talks with Operation Motorsport to see how we have some possible ways to team up a little bit later in the year. We're probably still a little bit too early out on that at this point, but I do know that we do have an event coming up at VIR. That's Virginia International Raceway, for those of you that are not regional, even though most people probably do understand and know where that is and what it is. But we do have a race coming up there 4 through 6 June that the Carolinas region will be teaming up with SRO and as well as Operation Motorsports at that time as well. So I guess more to come on that as more details kind of unfold on that, but we're going to be it's our pleasure to be involved in that as well.
Certainly looking forward to that event. Of course, VIR, a very special track as well. Well, thank you very much for joining us here tonight, Jerry. That is Jerry Widner from the PCA Carolinas region, and we look forward to Sunday's event. More information about that later on in the broadcast about that. So thank you very much, Jerry.
I appreciate that. Jerry Widner out.
Well, we just started here at Mid-Ohio. Thank you there to Jerry Widner for that wonderful bit of information. Don't forget to catch that on Sunday. You can see it live from Le Mans. No details at the end of the race. But Ogden Gerlach leads the way here after our single file restart from that caution. So we're hoping to hear back from race control about what exactly took place and what led to that one. We had a single file restart there, which slowed things down a little bit as we get ourselves going once again. And with that, we're actually going to get a chance to talk to Matt Dialosa here, your winner from the challenge class. Matt, cracking run there at Mid-Ohio, tricky track and a heck of a lot of traffic. Matt, do we have you?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. I had trouble hearing you.
No problem whatsoever. So a very tricky track here and a lot of traffic. How was it for you?
Well, I'm delighted to have done the result I did, and it was definitely stressful getting through all the people, but I just want to say everyone was super kind and courteous, and it was really nice being out with everybody.
What is it exactly like here running at Mid-Ohio in terms of it being almost like a street course?
Well, it's pretty slippery at Mid-Ohio, I tell you that. It's hard to stay at the limit without going off, and you throw traffic into that and it gets even crazier.
Very much so, of course. And this track, is it anything significant for you? Is it one you quite enjoy racing?
It is. I'm new to it as of last week, and I really enjoyed the elevation changes and the sweeping turns, and it just keeps you guessing all the time, and it's a good challenge. I like it a lot.
Awesome news. Well, congratulations on the win here in Mid-Ohio for the challenge class. One in the back for you. Thanks for
Thanks.
joining.
Bye-bye.
Next up, we have Glenn Dennis standing by with Ricky Springer.
And Glenn Dennis brought it home in the second spot in the challenge class race here this evening. And Glenn, you brought it home on the top step last week, bring it home on the second step, but nevertheless, a great start to your season and continuing the momentum here in PCA competition.
Yeah, thanks. Really happy to finish in second today. It was a tough race. A lot of guys came this week with a lot of pace here at Mid-Ohio. Just really happy with the finish, and want to say congrats to Matt and JR for a really good race. Sorry to see Stephen Kemp have an issue, but happy for Matt and JR, who both had a lot of pace today.
Yeah, and it seems like the competition has kind of stepped it up and putting you more in the driver's seat of having to really race these guys. A couple of dominant performances, but they're not giving it to you quite as easy as they did the first couple of races. But Glenn, a great finish nevertheless here in the second spot. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thanks to esports, thanks to you guys for doing this again. Always a lot of fun to be part of it. And of course, thanks to PCA Sim Racing, Hagerty, and all of our zone moderators and our coaches that help us out all week. Really appreciate those guys.
Absolutely, and that was Glenn Dennis, the second place driver here from the challenge class, and our very own Taylor Burris is with the Rocket Man of the evening, J.R. Gregory.
We certainly are here with the Rocket Man, J.R. Gregory, with a great finish in the challenge class. J.R., explain to our listeners and viewers here tonight the challenges when it comes to running here at Mid-Ohio.
Oh my gosh. Well, I probably am going to sound pretty repetitive to the things that y'all have been discussing all night, but it's certainly it's a low grip track. It is a low grip track in real life and a low grip track here on iRacing. They've modeled that part of it very accurately. Everything's off camber. There are a bunch of corners that cross blind hilltops. It makes it exciting and it makes it fun. You actually have to take some risks and point the car where you can't see, which I always enjoy. There are a couple spots like that out here in the Pacific Northwest where I drive in real life. Yeah, it's the lack of grip is difficult to come to grips with at times. And as the track warmed, I think our simulation start was sometime in the morning, 9 or something, but as the track heats up, the grip falls off. So you're losing fuel, the front of the car is getting lighter and the grip is falling off all at the same time. And it's usually about the time where you're hitting back markers. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, as we look ahead to the next round, your thoughts on the rest of your season and seeing if you have a shot maybe to compete for a championship?
In all honesty, man, I think it's pretty clear that Dennis has the pace and the consistency. I'm not sure. I don't want to set a goal for myself that's not realistic, and I think being competitive with him this season is going to be out of reach. But I sure would be happy to stay, in the top 3 by the end of the season. I told you guys last time about Plan A, which is to drive my own race, keep my concentration, be consistent, and see what comes to me. It's worked out pretty well so far this season with, I think, 3 out of 4 podiums. I sort of crashed out of Brands Hatch last week, but I guess that'll be my drop week. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about how it's going. I'm having a real good time and enjoying the other competitors as well.
Well, before we let you go, JR, anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
Yeah, well, thanks, Hagerty, of course, our sponsor, and Porsche, and special shout out to our friend Stephen Kemp. He had great pace all week preparing for this, was driving a great race as he always does, and unfortunately for the second time this season encountered some problems and getting through lap traffic, and he ended up crashing out very close to the end, and I feel real bad for him because of the amount of work that he puts into putting on a good show for everybody. So shout out to him, and to you guys, thanks again for calling the action for us.
Of course, JR. Great job with the podium finish here today, and that is your podium finishers from the challenge class. Rachel?
Certainly is, and we have 13 minutes left on the call today, so we're going to go straight to your midway race report. This one is a packed broadcast for your sport class. It has been busy. Welcome to your, of course, midway race break, brought to you by Pirelli. Pirelli was founded in Milan in 1872 and is a global brand known for its cutting-edge technology, high-end production excellence, and a passion for innovation that draws heavily on its Italian roots. Pirelli is among the world's major producers of tyres and is an OEM supplier to Porsche. Find out more about Pirelli at www.pirelli.com. Well, with that, as we keep our eyes on the action on track as well, we're going to go straight to your mid report here. So, leading the way, Ogren Gerlach, the 33 machine from the Rally Sport region in Zone 4. He's been doing this all race long. In fact, he's only 3.3, maybe almost like half a second from John Martin, who's in second place. He started third. John Martin in the 25 car, the Upper Canada region of Zone 1. He's pushing his way forwards after that restart and has had a good run since then. Third place, Ken Tubman up from 6th place to 3rd now in the Lone Star region of Zone 5. One of those Texas drivers that fills this series. Doing a great job here tonight, up 3. Ben Lung is in 4th place as he is up 4 spots here from 8th. The 290, another Upper Canada region of Zone 1 driver here in the PCA. Will Kelly, 5th place, is from the Maverick region of Zone 5, the 30 car. Kelly is up 4 spots. Crummell is up 4 places here from 10th place. The 41 car from the Carolinas region of Zone 3. 7th place, Will Waldron in the 20 machine from the Hudson Champlain region of Zone number 1. David Snelling is in the 19 car there, the Northeast region of Zone 1. 8th place right now for him, up 3 places. Daniel Florian behind him. The Carolinas region driver, the 911 machine. Love that number there. Zone 3, doing another great job here. Down 2 places for him. 10th place, up 4 places from 14th. Dean Chapman in the northern New Jersey region of Zone 1 in the car 605.
Just outside of the top 10, it's going to be Antonio De Silva in the 24 machine from the Metropolitan New York region of Zone 1. Few seconds to go until he gets to the drivers in front of him, put himself inside of a top 10. Carl Bocelli from the Metropolitan New York region as well, Zone 1 in the 80 machine, just behind him. Down to the 13th spot, Donald Brinkley in the 02 machine, Street Standard region of Zone 3, rocking the 02 as he works his way out of the carousel. The 14 machine of Will, the 907 machine, Peter in the 13th position from the Down East region of Zone 1 and 54 machine. He works his way across the start-finish line. 14th spot is going to be Jeff D. Williams from the Rocky Mountain region of Zone 9 in the 517. As we just heard, Will Waldron dove down pit road, changed our standings just a little bit. 15th spot now going to be back towards Bob Moore from the Northeast region of Zone 1 in the 772 machine, working his way down the back straightaway in a fierce battle with Nick from the Nord Stern region of Zone 10 in the 15 machine. He's trying to battle his way inside the top 15. 17th spot going to be Ronald P17 in the Northeast region of Zone 1. The 18 machine having a good run today, but trying to work his way further up. David D. Palmer from the Upper Canada region, Zone 1, 72 machine. A little bit of left side damage, but still doing the best of what he can in a fierce battle there. Keith Morgan from the Central Indiana region of Zone 4 in the 700 machine as he works his way down through Thunder Alley. And just on the backside of the top 20 is going to be Jason, the 14th machine from the Maverick region of Zone 5. Taylor.
21st is James Bernard, who's going a little off-roading right now as he'll drop back to 22nd. Gregory Sampson will pop up in front of him in that 21st spot. Both these two drivers been in a heated battle. Maverick region is, of course, from Gregory Sampson. 23rd will be Will Munguia from the Peach State region, Zone 3. A little bit of a banged up, but still continuing to battle out there in that 907. 24th is Moetz Mardini from the Orange Coast region, Zone 8. You ride on board with him as he is in a train of cars trying to get himself set up as they head into the keyhole. 25th position is Carol Davis from the First Settlers region, Zone 2. The 217 driver will be trying to work his way in this gaggle of cars down the back straightaway as they approach towards China Beach. 26 is Will Waldron. He just came off pit road not too long ago, but the Hudson Champlain region driver trying to see if he can make a recovery in tonight's race. 27th position is Thomas Doherty from the Central Indiana region, so a little bit closer to home for him here as we continue on in this season of the PCA. He is trying to see if he can gain some ground late in the race. 28th position, car 96, is Rusty Pruden from the Kentucky region. He's in a little bit of a quiet run right now, starting in 33rd, so he's picked up a couple of spots since the drop of the green flag. In the 29th position, Nordstern's region's very own Ryan McGee. A tough break for him after starting in 18th. He is still stuck in the drop back to 29th. Rounding out your top 30 is James Legault from the Central Indiana region. There he is trying to get back out onto the racetrack. After starting 19th, he has had a night not really to remember.
Looking at 31st night, Tom Crane there from the Mardi Gras region of Zone 5. The 864 is currently going to be scored as 3 places up. Behind them, Brandon Giadote in the 77 Gold Coast region of Zone 12. He's up 4 spots as well. Behind them is going to be Ken Nelson, 33rd place there. Ken is down 10 places, unfortunately. Pacific Northwest region of Zone 6. Some damage on that car. Behind them, Drew Kenny, 34th place, Northeast region, 36 car, Zone 1. He's down 2 positions. Behind him is John Crook. Is in the 35th place. Unfortunately, starting 21st, not a great day for him. The Potomac region, zone number 2 driver, is having a rough day. Robert Walton in the 36th position there. Maverick region of zone 5's 9 car is, again, one of those ones involved in early incidents, and the last car on the track for us. Well, that concludes your midway race report here for your sport class, brought to us by Pirelli. Now we can actually get a chance to actually look at the racing, guys. We had a restart there, we had an interview, we had driver interviews, we had a midway race report. Now time for some racing here with 6 minutes left on the clock. This has been a very hectic round.
Absolutely, and these drivers really pushing everything they got, and this is probably some of the closest racing we have seen so far from the sport class, especially up at the front of the field. These 2 drivers battling very hard, Rachel, and especially with the conditions of the track. We heard from the challenge drivers of how they change a lot during the race, and the cars get a little bit more free later on into the run with just a little over 6 minutes to go. These drivers battling those conditions right now.
Yeah, they're trying to do what they can, I think, at the moment to get themselves into a better position on the track, but still super hectic out there on track here at Mid-Ohio, but it's been a very busy day. A very, very busy day, in fact. I've seen some movement from Curtis Crummell from 10th to 5th place right now. Snelling 11th to 6th place as well, those 2 moving to the field. Dean Chapman's a big mover, as is De Silva.
Trouble for John Martin, he's around.
Oh,
Our 2nd place driver is just looped it around coming out of turn number 1, unfortunately. He was closing in on Oregon Gerlap right now, but if we get a quick look at the replay to see what happened.
Goes here, yeah, he caught some curb there, maybe on the inside. Unsettled that car slightly, and round he goes. Not what we want to see happening, is it?
No, it certainly is not, unfortunately. He was closing in on your race leader, Oregon Gerlap, to have on a great battle to the finish here, but unfortunately just clipping that curb, Rachel, sent him around. He's now back to the 9th position. He still has a chance to maybe get a top 5, but it's going to be a tall order here in these closing 5 minutes.
I think it really is, unfortunately, but this is how the cookie crumbles sometimes for these guys, as things can be incredibly tricky. But it's a difficult track, it's a difficult drive for these guys, and they're putting on a good show. It's been a very tricky one we've seen, and I keep saying tricky so often that I should really stop that, but the race is still going on. De Silva chasing down Chapman at the moment for your 9th position. De Silva right there. Actually, no, it's not De Silva, that's actually Kelly and Chapman. No, it's not, it's a lap car. I'm blind and I'm confused. Hi, how are you? Ricky.
Well, to answer your question, I'm doing quite well, getting to watch some racing here from a track that's somewhat in my backyard after moving out to Ohio, but we'll take a ride along with Will Kelly here from the Maverick region of Zone 5 in the 30 machine. He works his way up to the keyhole. Very difficult corner, Rachel, off cambered in kind of a downhill spiral. As you work your way down, Will Kelly getting a little sideways there. Those curbs can come up in a hurry as well, and you have to make sure you get a good run out of the keyhole down the back straightaway to set yourself up for possibly that passing zone going off into turn 4.
Yeah, it's looking possible that can be where we have this one happen, but still a lot of the race left for these guys. And 5 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, but it isn't a race, especially at Mid-Ohio. We're looking at a good couple of laps here. That's Ben Lung there on our screens. Pushing through here, this tight twig. Oh, round goes another car. That's a whoopsie. Moving on. Rejoining there, right next to our leaders, that lap car. As Gerlap still running a good lap here. Tubman is 4.3 back, not looking like he'll catch him in the remaining time here. Lung is 2 behind him as another car goes steaming off the track there. It is a busy day today on the racetrack at Mid-Ohio in the sport class. They're keeping it very athletic, I can tell you that.
They certainly are, Rachel, but one thing I do got to notice, though, Ken Tubman, even though he might not have enough time, he has made up ground on your race leader, Oregon Gerlap. He was about 5 seconds a few moments ago. Now he's running in the purple-green sector time limits and has dropped it down to about 3.1 seconds and closing right now on Oregon Gerlap. Even though he's not able possibly to catch up to him with only less than 3 minutes ago, it's still a great drive for Ken Tubman.
Yeah, certainly is. Ken is doing a fantastic run with this. Really pushing this thing in. He's gained a second. Not sure there'll be enough time there, but he's really putting this thing through the mix. Coming up now on the final moments of this race. 2 minutes 30 left here. Oregon Gerlap in clear air at the front. It's been hectic. I think, Taylor, is the only word we can use to describe the sport class today.
Certainly has been. I mean, if you look at it, the leaders have been dealing with lap traffic lap after lap and trying to figure out where to put the race car in order to get by these competitors cleanly without any incidents whatsoever. And so far, Gerlap has been the one to take care of his equipment, make the correct passes, and show patience. And with that, with 2 minutes left to go, he's looking to take home a checkered flag.
I think he really is. This is looking like a very strong performance we've seen. I don't think I've seen one like this from him yet. It's definitely showing he wants his fight to go to the championship here. As just behind them, lots of group fighting. Daniel Florian, David Snelling. Cromwell just ahead of that group there. Ben Lung ahead of them. So we've got a good train here coming for the top 5-6 positions here. Down to 7th place. This whole grouping right on top of each other.
Yeah, and Ken Tubman is still gaining quite a lot on Gerlap. Was a second faster last lap. This lap just under 0.5 of a second, so just under a half a second faster, but gaining time nevertheless, and that could really show problems for Gerlap up at the front of the field, as he might have a battle on his hands. As a battle for third now, Rachel.
Yes, they are indeed, and that battle still plays on. Third place, it's a huge one for them. Curtis Cromwell looking for that move here on Ben Lung. Goes to the outside, has a good run into China Beach. Can he hold the outside? No, he won't. He'll cut back under, but he could have a run possibly a little bit further around this section. Does a good run here. Accelerates in towards Lung. Will he dive to the inside? No, he's going to take it respectfully there. Ben Lung defending very, very well here, Ricky.
Yeah, absolutely. These drivers just battling terribly hard to try and get every position on the track. And I believe, Rachel, that throughout the entirety of this season so far, every race has just upped the intensity from every single class. Sport class was definitely no different here, as that battle up towards the front starting to get closer and closer. I believe this may be the last lap here, Tate.
Certainly is.
Looking at it at the moment is, sorry, Taylor, yes, last lap here for Oregon Gerlap. Taylor, this race has been drama-filled, to say the least.
Well, with the PCA, we got to have a little bit of drama and a little bit of excitement in order to get everyone ready to watch the next round and have them come back for the next week's races. But here we go, battle for third right now. Curtis Cromwell tries to go the long way around as they enter towards China Beach, crosses over to the inside as they make the way up through the S's for the final time. David Snelling and Daniel Florian in the popcorn position in case one of them makes contact and loses to the race car as they come down towards Thunder Valley for the final time.
Bringing it into close here. Gerlap has the final run through the bottom here towards Thunder Valley, and this is going to be a big one for him. Not really much traffic ahead, so it's plenty of time, but it's all on Ben Lung here, right behind them, because this could be a closing battle and a desperate move for one of these group behind him. We'll have to keep our eyes on that the second it plays out, but Oh, a big run there by Curtis Crummell. He lost some time. Through will come David Snelling, gets up the inside. It'll be defensive line though by Crummell. Holds that position for now. Through will come Gerlap ahead of this group onto the final line. Across the line will come Gerlap, but let's look back at this grouping. It's super tight. Lung will hold third place as Tubman crosses the line. And they'll finish in order despite the heart-stopping closeness of that pack, guys.
Yeah, very close there. Everybody battling very hard through the last carousel down the front straightaway as drivers still at the back half of the field, battling very closely for every single spot on the track, but a great race nevertheless, Rachel.
Certainly was for us here. What a hectic run we just saw. Rest of your field coming through China Beach now, not China Beach, sorry, down towards Thunder Valley as we're looking towards the end here. A very tumultuous race, but the field all coming across the line. No real super tight battles where we might see a position change as the rest of that field closes through. It's Tom Crane there coming through in 27th place. Last car on the lead lap. Quiet run to the end for him as everybody else will come across the line, pouring across there in a long train. Here he comes, Tom Crane, last on the lead lap. That's not Tom Crane. I thought it was. Coming across the line. It is Tom Crane. I was on replay. I'm an idiot. Well, guys, without much further ado, let's look at your post-race results. Coming home with the win, Ogren Gerlap takes it today at Mid-Ohio after a full course caution, our first ever. Ken Tubman from Zone 5 will come home in second place with Zone 1's Ben Lung in third. Behind them, it's Curtis Crummell in fourth and David Snelling in fifth. Daniel Florian, Will Kelly, John Martin, Dean Chapman, and Antonio De Silva in 10th. 11th place is going to be Donald Binkley, Peter Yerkser, Bob Moore, Will Waldron, and Jeff D. Williams in 15th place. Rest of those positions coming up on your screen. Stay tuned for whatever could happen in the club class coming up next. Welcome back to your club class race tonight, the third of our 4 races here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, brought to you by Michelin. Michelin, of course, is the presenting partner for the club class in 2021, as well as the official tyre of IMSA. They also manufacture and sell tyres for every type of vehicle, including aeroplanes, automobiles, bicycles, earth movers, farm equipment, heavy-duty trucks, and motorcycles. Michelin also offers a full range of innovative services and solutions that help make mobility safer, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly. Find out more about Michelin at www.michelinman.com. With that, we're going to hit your grid straight away here at the club class. We'll keep them busy tonight. First, zone number 2 is Robert Rose, with second place, zone 5, Jean-Paul Lano. Third place, zone number 5 is Klaus Nielsen, with fourth, zone 1's Jeremy Mazriello. Fifth, zone number 3 is Sean Murphy. Sixth place, zone number 3 is Travis Brody. 7th, Zone 8 is Jonathan Waltman, with 8th, Zone 1's Julian Velez. 9th, Zone number 1 is Robert Lacroix. With 10th, Zone 12 is Michael D. Masters. 11th is Zone 5's Mario Gonzalez, with Zone 9's Ryan Kowanowski in 12th. Zone 4's James Hayosh in 13th, with Zone number 2's Kevin Douglas in 14th, and Patrick Gill of Zone 13 in 15th. With that, guys, we're heading ready to your grid straight away for this one. We are keeping up that pace tonight on the PCA at Mid-Ohio. The broadcast is just as fast as the racing action on track. Let's hope we have a better start than club. We can hope for that. Either way, we know we're going to have a crazy amount of action in this one. 34 cars in this field tonight as we get ready to go for tonight's event. Taylor, quick thoughts?
Well, we're about to see a brand new car out on the circuit. We just got done with the roof track cars. Now we are with the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. We're going to be seeing how these drivers will be able to handle it. Should be able to keep it a little bit cleaner, but as we know, the competition with these two classes that we have here before us are going to be even more exciting and a lot more competitive.
That's very true indeed. We're going to have a crazy time tonight at Mid-Ohio for this field. A 1 second bracket, 124.447 for your pole sitter Robert Rose. A 25.4. Oh, here we go. Takes us up to nearly 18th position, guys. This says it's going to be a little bit more competitive, don't you think, as the field moves away?
Absolutely. These drivers very, very close to each other. And a very short pace lap here, so these drivers are not going to have a lot of time to prepare for, well, the fast times going off into turn 1 here, Rachel.
We'll see how it kicks in, because we're about to go racing here at Mid-Ohio for the third race of the night. Lean forward in those seats. Green flag flies. Here we go. Robert Rose leads him away for a good start here at Mid-Ohio. Single filing out straight away. Apart from Velez a little bit further back, still too wide. That looks to the inside in turn 1. Don't get too keen. You saw the last race. Everyone straightens out here and gets through turn 1 with no real major troubles. In fact, the whole field comes through cleanly, including some too wide further back in your pack. Ricky, this one was a lot better.
Absolutely. These drivers still 2x2. You see a little lockup up into the keyhole, but these huge wings on the back of these cars going to slow them down a lot when in a huge pack. As you can see, single file from second all the way to about the 11th place. As these drivers motor on down the back straightaway into turn 4 and a dive bomb there around the 5th spot.
That was a bit of a key move there for 5th place, but it gets done nonetheless as the field stays incredibly tight here. This is probably the closest we've seen for a while. In fact, all night here, Taylor. These guys aren't messing around.
No, they certainly are not. And just as you brought out, the top 15, actually top 18, separated by just 1 second in qualifying. That just shows the competitiveness of the field right now as Robert Rose plays the lead of Follow the Leader. The Pied Piper will take him through Thunder Valley before heading over into the carousel for the first time under race pace. He has about a 6/10 of a second, now 7/10 of a second lead over Jean-Paul Lano, who is trying to hold off Klaus Nielsen in that Motorsports Porsche as they come across the line to complete lap number 1.
Lap 1 in the bag, and it's been a very different race here in the club class. As your field keep it going here in absolute great senses on this track. Rose still leads the way here, but his gap is not that big. It's under a second to Lano, with Nielsen right behind him, and a conga line that kind of leads us back to the entire field. yeah, they're all still close together. This one is a packed race. A little bit of congering back around 25th, 26th, but these guys are not spreading out at all, Ricky.
No, not at all. And you could see just about a car length in between every single car here. So a good enough cushion where if somebody breaks a little early, you can get away. But you could see Gonzalez now for the 11th spot in the 777, trying to work his way around a couple of machines there. The bright yellow one in front of him, but falls back in line as he works his way through the S's. But just the cars continue to just pile into the corner, Rachel, in single file. Very smart move here early on in the race. But these drivers are going to need to amp it up a little bit as the time starts to wind down here.
That's true indeed. The guys still pushing this one onwards as we get through here. Just other than the leader, Rose, having a good gap. Probably the clean air. Everyone else is packed up into a bunch here. Really, really close. Crazy distances we're seeing, but putting it on definitely in this race. We're seeing a huge difference.
Certainly are, Rachel. Robert Rose still the fastest car out on the track with a 125.84 right now as they work their way up into the keyhole. Your race leader from the Shenandoah region, zone number 2 in that 443 Porsche, leads them out of the keyhole, heads them down the long back straightaway, heading into turns 3 before they hit towards China Beach. Keeping an eye, though, a little further back in the field right now as these cars inside the top 10 are keeping it single file, playing nice right now, but a couple of cars have been trying to go 2 by 2 a little further back. I'll give you an update on that. Actually, Robert Cottle is actually in a battle with, or actually, no, a little further up. It's going to be a little closer where they are battling before they head into China Beach and into the S's.
Incredibly tight throughout this whole grouping in this field. Stonking racing we're seeing already. They're all on top of each other and there's no mistakes. That's the biggest thing I'm seeing here. So I don't believe this. We're not seeing a single foot wrong.
No, we haven't seen any single driver make a single mistake. I saw Michael Masters make a small little bobble into the keyhole, but was able to gather it back up and continue on his way. Lost a couple of spots. But other than that, a really great drive for pretty much everybody in the field as the field now locks up and heads into the keyhole or the carousel. Contact actually off the carousel. Multiple cars involved. Car 64 of Robert LaCroix, as well as several other cars involved in an incident as they come out. More cars spinning in the carousel actually as we speak.
Things not going right for these guys at the moment as the carousel turns into a parking lot back there, but well, they're getting themselves straightened out and moving onwards here. Frontier field coming down towards the kink on the back straight as we keep moving on. Wow, huge great break. We're starting to see Leno and Nielsen also breaking away. 3 seconds back to Waltman behind them. Velez is in the 5th spot. This one's shaking up now fast.
Yeah, Kevin Douglas has a absolute rat's nest behind him there. As you can see, a couple of cars too wide as you look out the back there. And that's a very tough spot to go too wide. And as you can see, the car hops up onto the rumble strips there and goes around. And it's a very tough spot to go side by side, Rachel. If the guy on the outside is pinching you, you just don't have enough room.
No, if you don't have the room, you can't make it happen. And there, you saw exactly what happens. The room runs out fast as these guys keep themselves going. This race becoming quite an unusual circumstance, but we'll take a moment here to grab your guys from the club class, sport class race. There we go. We'll get it right this way around. Let's have a chance to chat to Ogren Gerlap here, who's going to be our winner in the sport class. Ogren, incredible race tonight in the sport class. That was a hectic race.
Oh, hi, yes. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We didn't really know. It's the first time I've been in a race where a full course caution was thrown. So, yeah. It was...
Can you tell us anything about that?
I don't. We were just talking about it. I took off first lap and next thing I knew, halfway through lap 1, that there was a full course caution, and we just, I really don't know what happened behind me.
Oh, definitely a very busy day out there, but a tricky track. Everyone says the same thing. Busy racing, but for you, clear track out ahead. What's the lap traffic like here?
It's not too bad, except, there's basically half the lap where once you come off the back straight, there isn't really any room to pass. So you got to get them on the front straight or the back straight, and so if you're going to get them, you got to get them there. Otherwise, you're going to be following somebody for a little while. But it wasn't too bad this race. Everybody did well. So thanks for that.
Oh, fantastic. Anybody like to give a shout out to or thank?
Oh yeah, for sure. My wife, who accommodates all the time I put into this hobby, and my family, who are hopefully back home watching. And then all the Zone 2-4 guys who put on all the races that we do, and all the guys we race with. Big thanks to them. We'll have a lot of fun racing with those guys on Thursday nights. And then a last shout out to Robert Rose, who I'm watching now the YouTube feed. He's winning the club. He's leading the club race, so good luck to him.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for joining us and coming home to win our Glendale lap.
Thanks.
Next up, Ken Tubman standing by with Ricky Springer.
And Ken Tubman going to bring it home in the second spot. A great job running down Gerlap there at the end, Mr. Tubman, but just didn't quite have enough time. What else would it have taken for you to get to that first spot?
Oh, I don't know. You know, Oregon and John broke out early, and I was chasing them and started mixing up with a lapped car, and that made a big gap. So from that point, it wasn't that I wasn't trying to catch Oregon, but I was really managing the gap behind me and just making sure I kept that large enough to be comfortable. So yeah, Oregon ran a great race.
Absolutely, and a great run for yourself tonight in the sport class. I guess somewhat of a rebound from how your last week went, but a good job. And, you know, what are you looking forward to next week and throughout the rest of the season here, Ken, to possibly, you know, get your spot for a championship?
Well, I missed the last two races, so what I'm looking forward to is to being able to race them. And the race before that, someone dive bombed me and took me out. So I was just happy to make it through the first lap incident here. So I'm just happy to run my pace, keep it clean, and see what I can do. So.
Well, a great job nevertheless. And finally, Ken, is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to thank Hagerty for sponsoring the series, Pirelli for sponsoring our class, and Porsche Exchange for sponsoring our zone group.
Alrighty, and that was Ken Tubman, the second place driver of the sport class here tonight, and our very own Taylor Burris down with Ben Long, the third place finisher.
Here with Ben Long coming home in third place. Ben, you put on a great performance in your class here today. Was coming out on the third step of the podium. Your thoughts on the race for you, and anything that you could have maybe done to try to catch up to second place of Ken Tubman?
Well, it's a very good race. I mean, we had a unusual start with the safety car. But yeah, I was trying to keep up with Ken, and then we ran into some lap traffic and kind of got stuck behind a couple of lap cars. But I think we had a really good run with Curtis in P4. Like, he really pushed me, and tried my best to hold him off as long as I could.
Talk about that battle with you and Curtis in those closing minutes here today at Mid-Ohio, especially having to negotiate through lap traffic in the process.
It was a close call. I mean, he definitely had very good pace, and my car had, the way it's set up, it had slower straight line speed, so he was catching me on the straights, but I had a little bit more grip on the turns, so it was very close.
Well, before we let you go, Ben, anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
I just want to thank you all our sponsors and my family, my wife, my kids, just to allow me to do this. And it's great. It's been fun.
Of course, that is Ben Lowen coming home in third place here tonight. Rachel?
A very busy run, but that was your guys from the sport class, of course. As we're being ticking past fast. Club class is being a very, very busy race so far. Rose is clear, but he's not clear by a long way from Klaus Nielsen, who's coming up in second place there. You can see the onboard we just saw on your screens. Gap is under a second between those two. We're seeing a breakaway with two cars for once. Waltman in third place is about 3 seconds back here, Ricky. And behind that, 4 seconds to Velez, who's, well, having to fend off a very hungry Ryan Koronowski.
Yeah, Koronowski here trying to work his way inside of the top 5, just on the bubble, but very close there. And it looks like a little bit of contact almost made as they work their way through the carousel. And he's going to get off into the grass there, Rachel. That's unfortunate. I believe that's a curse that we always talk so much about.
Yeah, unfortunately, mea culpa. Once again, the broadcast curse strikes. But either way, this has been a huge run by these guys, but we're seeing that breakaway at the front is one that I'm really keen to keep an eye on. Seeing Nielsen breaking away here with Rose, that's huge for these guys. They're seeing a significant gap as time just increasing for these two, but will we see Nielsen try and make a move on Rose?
They certainly are going to try. I mean, looking at Nielsen, he has the fastest lap of the race with a 125.17 compared to Rose's 125.31. And looking at this right now, as they climb up through the S's right here, Rachel, Nielsen has the better runs coming off corner exit, especially through this section of the course. Rose seems to be struggling just a little bit now as they approach Thunder Valley right now. Let's see what happens for the Moto Motorsports driver. Can he find a way to get around him in this second half of the race?
That'll be the tricky thing to pull out here. Can they get through this and hold the gap running for us? Race time so far, we've got approximately 17 minutes remaining in this one, so we actually have a better pace for today. We've got our interviews done. We've managed to cover the field. We've not had any dramatic chaos. So club class, they're still super close there still. Other than a couple of breaks we're starting to see in the field, a lot of these cars are still right on top of each other. The gaps back from Koinowski and co. behind them, we have about 15 cars in that pack. So it is huge. Lots and lots of traffic. Lots of action on track. These guys all getting some great action in here. So much to cover in such a short period of time. It's very easy for us to lose our voices up here in the commentary boxes. Taylor, this has definitely been our strongest field, but judging by what we saw, of course, in the 1 second bracket, this one told us it would be closer. We had a lot of cars in that bracket, but even 18 compared to the 6 or 7 we've had in the other two races. So
it certainly is, Rachel, and that just shows the caliber of racing in these classes here. Each class has a select group of drivers that showcase their talent, but once we get into the club and pro classes of the PCA Sim Racing Series, we see that caliber kind of extends out further throughout the field. We see the tighter battles, closer finishes in the field, and great racing as we see. I mean, we still have a great battle for the race lead, but also all throughout the racetrack we see close battles, especially from 6 on back with Ryan Krasnetsky, Kevin Douglas, Aaron Ambrosino, Dante Tornello, all in a great battle as they work through Thunder Valley. Keeping an eye on those 4 drivers to see what they can do. Of course, drivers such as Jean-Paul Leno, who's making a decent recovery after his spin in the keyhole, trying to see if he can get a little further up inside the top 10. And don't forget Michael Masters. He got in a little bit of trouble on the opening lap. He is now running back inside 12th after dropping outside the top 15.
he is, and he's moving onwards as Benet up 10 places right now from 21st to 11th. 20th to 9th, Dante Tornello, he's one to keep an eye on. He is really moving through the field here. A bunch of other cars moving up as well. Ken Eskridge, we're seeing the likes of McKinney, we're seeing Stewart. Big movers like Gavin Douglas up 7 spots into your top 7 position there. 16th to 8th from Brasino. So, yeah, Ricky, this is definitely busy.
Yeah, and these drivers are still getting very, very close to each other and trying to close those gaps. And I believe Taylor was right. You know, the further that we get into the night as we ride on board with our leader, Robert Rose, but as we get further into the night, these drivers continue to just put the pressure on each other more and more. Of course, we kind of go up the ladder of PCA competition, if you will, starting off with the roof track cars and the lower classes of drivers, then all the way to the pro class to end off the night. And another great battle here for the 13th spot. There's just phenomenal battles all over the track, Rachel.
Totally are, of course. Keeping my eyes on this massive pack of cars we have running through the middle of our field here. This is just a conga line. They're just playing for a leader. Do they think the car at the front of this group is the pace car, Taylor?
It certainly seems that way, but we'll have to keep an eye and see what will happen. I mean, it's pretty much a good game of Robert Rose playing the Pied Piper, as Klaus Nielsen did fall off just a little bit. This is the first time that we've seen the lead get over a second right now, so we'll keep an eye and see if Klaus can be able to find a way back up through up to the back bumper of him.
Yeah, that'll be the telling portion of this and whether he can do that, but a lot of race left to go here for your club class. We are looking though at 30 minutes remaining, so I think, folks, it is time for that midway race report here for your club class race, brought to us by Michelin. Michelin is a presenting partner of the club class in 2021, as well as the official tyre of IMSA. They also manufacture and sell tyres for every type of vehicle, including aeroplanes, automobiles, bicycles, earth movers, farm equipment, heavy-duty trucks, and motorcycles. Michelin also offers a full range of innovative services and solutions that help make mobility safer, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly. Find out more about Michelin at www.michelinman.com. And with that, let's take a look at our guys out on track. Robert Rose finally made a bit of a gap here. Shenandoah Region's number 2 driver in that 4.43 is leading the way here tonight from pole. Klaus Nielsen in second place, the Lone Star region of Zone 5. The 04 car was third. It's running second now. The gap's widened slightly. Julian Valaire's up from 8th place to third here in a 33 car. The Northern New Jersey region driver of Zone 1 put himself in a podium position so far tonight. Fourth place, Mario Gonzalez, the Hill Country region of Zone 5. A 777 car, up grand total of 7 places himself, so another big mover. Fifth place is Tama Elbaga. He's up from 17th to 5th, the Ryan Sandota region of Zone 2, the 043. Absolutely a powerhouse night as we have a car just behind them going off the track. Ryan Korwanowski in the 6th place. Rocky Mountain region of Zone 9, the 22 car. He's up 6 places from 12th. Kevin Douglas in 7th from the Ryerson Dota region of Zone 2 as well. The car 8-10 there. He is up 7 places from 14th. Ambrosino in 8th place. That's Dante Tornello as Ambrosino went off. Tornello in 8th place from the Suncoast, Florida region of Zone 12. 32 car is currently running 11 places up from 20th. Jason Benet in 9th, the Lincoln Trail region of Zone 13. He's up a whopping 11 places since tonight's race from 21st. Jean-Paul Leno from the Mardi Gras region is in 10th place from Zone 5, the 987. He is unfortunately back 8 places from 2nd.
Michael D. Masters from the Space Coast region of Zone 12 and P11 270 machine as he is in the middle of the rat's nest trying to work his way up inside the top 10. James Hayosh from the Southeast Michigan region of Zone 4 in car number 8, now going to be side by side trying to get that 11th spot. 13th position. Going to be back to Dave Stewart all on his own here, but some cars behind him as they're in a battle in the Upper Canada region of Zone 1. 914 machine right behind him, the 111 machine of Patrick Grill, the 13th spot, or 14th rather, just worked his way into the 13th spot from the Central Wisconsin region of Zone 13. 14th spot, Dave Stewart, who we just covered. So it will now be back to the 15th spot, which will be Brett Holmes from the Las Vegas region of Zone 8 and car number 6 right there in that battle. Jake from the Ohio Valley region in his backyard again here tonight from Zone 4, the 46 machine, a little bit of left front damage, but nevertheless trying to get himself up to the pack in front of him. 17th spot right behind him going to be Mitchell McKinney from the Cameron region of Zone 5, car number 527 in P17. P18, maybe Jeremy from the North Country region of Zone 1, car number 25. Fairly clean looking car, but in the 18th spot, hoping to move the way up through the field. Back to the 19th spot, Jeff P. Smith from the region of Zone 2 in the 16 machine, the all-black car, working his way around mid-Ohio. 20th spot and just inside the top 20 is going to be Ken from the O'Hare-Dix region of Zone 3 in car number 27, Taylor.
In the 21st position, you'll find car 386 of Bruce Robinson from the Northern Ohio region, Zone 4, having a little bit of a quiet night here as he works his way down the back straightaway, heading over towards China Beach. In the 22nd spot, car 89, Robert Cottle from the Intermountain region. He is in from Zone 9, having to see if he can work his way through as he leads a train of cars down the back straightaway. Chris Duffy, Rubber Ducky, as we like to call him, the Florida Citrus region driver, trying to be in hot pursuit of Robert Cottle in 24th position. We will find Sean Murphy, the Irishman from Palmetto region, working his way through, trying to catch up and see if he can find his way around Chris Duffy. 25th spot will be Aaron Ambrosino from the Hudson Champlain region, zone number 1. You're on board with him now as he is trying to work his way through Thunder Valley here once again in a great battle. 26th spot, Gary Rice from the Peach State region, working his way through Thunder Valley, trying to see if he can catch up and gain a couple of extra spots in that 26th position. 27th, Travis Brody. We saw him get involved in that early incident as we see cars smoking in front. That was actually Sean Murphy around, but was able to gather it back up. Palmetto Region's driver, though, seeing if he can get a little extra room to get back up towards the front of the field. And next up, Michael Patterson from the Longhorn region, zone number 5. 29 car is in the 26th spot, trying to see if he can gain a couple of extra positions after starting in the 23rd spot. As we see through the field, we just talked about Sean Murphy and Chris Duffy. They drop back to 27th and 28th position. 29th is Andrew Elson from the Peach State region. He has gained a couple of spots, starting in 31st. He has now moved up to 29th. Rounding out your top 30, Marco Harris from the Connecticut Valley region, car 981. He's a little bit of a tear right now as he has lost a couple of spots, and he is the last car on the lead lap.
Behind them is Robert Lacroix from the Rensport region of Zone 1, the 64 car, unfortunately down from 9th after some incidents. And that will be our last car on your racetrack tonight here. And of course, that was your midway race break, brought to us by Michelin for your club class. Back to the front. Ricky. Robert Rose's gap 3.7. We're seeing another runaway after the early fight by Nielsen. Seems to have almost given up with that, but Velez has dropped back to a whole 11 seconds back from second place, and well, he's been caught by Gonzalez, Elbaga, and Kornowski, who's recovered up to 6th.
Yeah, I believe Robert, just towards the end of this run, is really starting to feel that Porsche work under him, and he's starting to pull his way. But you were right, Rachel. This battle here heating up as they work their way through turns 4 and 5, working their way down to the S's. That's a great battle right there. All three drivers evenly spaced out in a tough part of the track to really gain some time, but very easy to lose time here if you just make one little slip up over the blind hill working their way into Thunder Valley.
Certainly can be, and Taylor, we're seeing a couple of black flags. Chris Duff, oh no, that's not one. That's Sean Murphy has set a black flag for an incident on track as well. We've seen more people go off on their own though than incidents tonight. We've not really seen many at-fault incidents on the track.
Yeah, that certainly is the case that we've seen here tonight, Rachel. A lot of incidents of single cars. The first incident that we've seen that was involved multiple cars was, of course, the one that we saw with Robert Lacroix and several other drivers coming out of the carousel. But the first major car-to-car contact between Chris Duffy and Sean Murphy is really the first time where two cars actually got together to cause that incident. Both of them have been black flagged to come down to serve their penalties. We'll see when that will happen. But I'm still keeping an eye on this battle right here, Rachel, between Julian Velez, Gonzalez, Tamer Albaga, and Ryan Krasneski. There you see Albaga in the meat of that sandwich of Porsches. You're right on board with him, the Rice and Toda region's driver, trying to get the draft down this back straightaway before they head into China Beach.
Yeah, he really is. As they're looking to try and get some time on the track here before this one pulls forwards, but we're seeing some real closeness here along with Kornowski in that grouping, but Albaga and Gonzalez, they're on top of each other. Velez, I mean, just a few meters ahead.
Yeah, that battle definitely heating up, and that's one that we'll just have to continue to keep a look at, Rachel. Of course, 5th all the way to the 7th spot as we ride on board with Kornowski now in the Rocky Mountain region. And that's a very difficult part of the track right there. You really want to get as close to that guardrail as possible at the end of Thunder Valley to get yourself set up for that left-hander and get ready into the carousel. But closing in is Kornowski there, and he might be trying to make a pass here in the closing laps with just a little under 4 minutes to go.
Certainly is coming close now as we get into those final moments of this. Although I say final moments, it's 3 minutes. It's about 2.5 laps, I think, based on our previous best we've seen. The grouping here with Velez getting much, much closer. Keeping our eyes on this at the moment as they hit that back straight here, heading towards the kink. Velez, Gonzalez, Albaga, and Kornowski right on top of each other. This is our real race we're seeing towards this front of the pack, because this is for 3rd place, and we actually have a viable race here, Taylor, for that podium spot.
We certainly do. Julian Velez is currently leading that group of cars right now as they work their way up through the top of the hill of the S's before just downhill through the roller coaster section just about. We see Tamer Albaga, Mario Gonzalez trying to see if find a way around them as they approach towards Thunder Valley, but Velez doing what he needs to do, hitting his marks, hitting the apex of each corner perfectly, and timing the right exit speed off corner exit in order to keep these drivers behind him. No one's really made a brave attempt into any one of the major passing zones, such as into the carousel amongst these 4 drivers, but keep an eye as that clock continues to tick down as we see Albaga try to make a deep dive into the carousel to get around Gonzalez. That will allow Krasneski to see if he can get around him as they approach turn 1.
Going for it hard there, but not going to be close enough to make anything happen yet. Still looking for that time they wanted, but it's not going to quite be there at the moment. They're looking for that gap to really shrink down, and it won't be here, Ricky. It's going to be down towards after China Beach, I think.
Yeah, and that's just that difficult part of the track where we've heard all the drivers all night say how difficult it is to even get by lap traffic through that portion of the course from turn 5 all the way to the end of turn 7 is a very difficult portion where these drivers having to use all of the racetrack, and even with lap cars moving out of the way still makes it very difficult. So, and by the way, this is the portion of the track I'm talking about, turn 4, of course, the right-hander as they work their way up over the hill to 5, 6 right here as they work their way into the S's. Here is what they would call huge elevation change there. Then work their way out of the right-hander into Thunder Valley, but a very difficult spot to pass, and somebody's going to have to make a huge mistake for you to get side by side and complete a pass through that portion of the track.
Very much is as well. Looking at those final seconds now as we come through. 1 minute left on the clock. Where's Robert Rose? He's just started his lap, so this could be tight. This might be our last lap, but we don't quite know. It's about 1 minute 24, so I think perhaps this could be, Taylor.
I think so. I believe this is the last lap for our leader, Robert Rose, right now. He has about a 2.5 second lead over Klaus Nielsen right now as they head down the long back straightaway towards China Beach. We'll keep an eye on this, but
sorry to get you here, but I think we might see something happening with Velez, Gonzalez, Albaga, Kornowski, and Leno. Gonzalez set up for a move there, going to the keyhole, and he's catching now in the draft onto Velez, running towards China Beach. As behind them, we're seeing a move by Leno and Kornowski into China Beach. Right behind them, he's not going to make it stick though. Super, super close. Who will get this positioning as the last laps run down? They're all going to want to jump Velez. He's got to feel like the most hunted man in the world.
Absolutely, and still bumper to bumper as they work their way through the S's and the 777 machine trying to get to the back bumper so desperately.
Super close here as Rose will come through the horseshoe. I think this is it. It's not. Yes, this will be it. Rose comes across the line with the win here. And Klaus Nielsen coming up behind him. Can Velez hold on? Last corner coming up now. They're setting up for it. No one's close enough. They look so close, but they're not quite there. Julian Velez holds off the horde and brings home that final step of the podium.
what a drive for Julian Velez right now, as well as Michael Masters as he's coming across the line in P8 after his early spin on lap 1. As the rest of the field works their way through, Dave Stewart coming home 13th. A couple of great drives for several drivers here. Bruce Robinson a little banged up on the nose of that portion, but it looks like he's going to try to see if he can get 19th, maybe 18th. Not close enough, but for Robert Rose, another dominant run for him, of course, tonight.
Certainly a crazy run from these guys tonight as our final cars on the lead lap. Coughlin, Brasino, Mazzariello, Brody come across the line here. Patterson coming up, Rice, Duffy, Harris, and Elsom on Thunder Alley here, coming to conclude this last lap for your club class here tonight, of course, brought to us by Michelin. Check them out at www.michelinman.com as we're going to bring you those final race results. Coming home with the win tonight, Robert Rose puts it on the point here with Klaus Nielsen in second place there. Julian Velez holds on to being masses in third place. with Mario Gonzalez just behind him in 4th and Tamer Elbarga in 5th. 6th place is Kornowski with Jean-Paul Leno, Michael D. Masters, Dante Tornello, Patrick Gill in 10th. 11th is Kevin Douglas with Dave Stewart in 12th, Jensen Benet in 13th, Jake Steinbrink in 14th, and Michael McKinney in 15th. The rest of those positions up on your screens. Join us in just a few moments for the pro race where it is only going to get more crazy. Pretty positive that's the case. Can only go up from here, guys. This is going to be insane.
Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.
Welcome back to the fourth and final race of tonight. It's the one I think a lot of you wait for here. It's the Pro Series here at PCA with our sponsor, Porsche. Porsche is more than a sports car. It's a way of life for all of us, and we appreciate their support of PCA Sim Racing as the Pro Class sponsor. With the recent sub-7-minute lap at the Nürburgring in GT3 and the arrival of the all-new 992 GT3 Cup car to the US, Porsche's dedication to motorsports is stronger than ever. Find out more about Porsche at www.porsche.com. Well guys, our final round of the night at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's been very crazy. Can't wait for this thing. I gotta say, I'm excited, Taylor.
I certainly am as well. This is the cream of the crop. This is the biggest names in all of PCA Sim Racing, Rachel. And if it was anything like we saw last week at Brands Hatch, this is going to be exciting.
Certainly is. Can't wait to see what kicks off, of course. And wow, it's going to be busy, busy, busy. So, yeah. Yeah. What can we say? 27 drivers in tonight's field here for the Pro Class. And it's looking pretty tight now towards our set for the grid. Let's go check out that starting order. Leading the way today is the number 1's Michael Coopersmith in first, with Zone 5's Christopher Pies in second. Third, Zone number 3 is Raphael Amram, with Zone 3's Jacob Schum in fourth. Fifth is Zone number 1's James Huth, with 6th place. Zone number 6 is Arthur Chan. Zone 5's Matthew Siddle in 7th, with Zone 13's Joe Stiffel in 8th. Jason Listener in 9th from Zone 2. Leif Peterson of Zone 5 in 10th place, with 11th place being William Anderson of Zone 5. 12th, Zone 5's Jason Stanley. 13th, Zone number 9's Rich Winkler. 14th, Zone 10's Jordan Dyer. And 15th, Zone number 13's Trey Drawhorn. Those positions on your screen as we get ready to kick it for the last race tonight. And what's our weather looking like? Ooh, partly cloudy. 72 degrees Fahrenheit with a track temperature of 84. 18 miles an hour wind from the north with a humidity of 92. Holy racetrack, Batman. That's going to get interesting. Nearly 20 miles an hour of wind.
Okay, that is a little bit too crazy, I would have to say. I agree with you on that, Rachel. Plus, the track temperature being around, or the temperature outside being about 92 degrees, that's going to be hot. Or actually,
I've seen the iRacing tree shake this much before.
I haven't either.
Hey, is that the truck from Twister I'm just seeing off the side of the track? I think it could be.
If you see Dorothy, let us know, because if you do, then we have
I
issues.
just saw a house fly past 10 seconds ago. We're going to
you did?
this thing. Yeah, I think they're going to get some sales out here, and we're going to have some wakeboarding going on the track with these cars.
Well, we're certainly not in Kansas anymore, I can tell you that.
Oh, wow, we are milking this, aren't we? No,
we are.
Yeah. Getting ready to start the round tonight for Pro. Pace car only does guys away, and we have 30 minutes of what's likely to be very busy action. 123.273 for Coopersmith's time. Where's our 24.273? 24.279 is 18th, Mark Huth. So 2/3 of our field are in that 1 second bracket. This one is going to be super close as the pace car pulls away to get us started for tonight's round. Let's do this thing. Here we go. This is probably our closest field yet in qualifying positions, and oh boy, these guys all want it. Who can do it tonight? We'll see. Who can do it? Green flag flies. Coopersmith leads them away. Big jump on Pies. No one else is giving up though. They're all on top of this thing here. Pies looks to the inside. Cuts underneath. Tried it. Pulled back out. Did not want to stick his nose in there. Running down up towards the keyhole as the field filters through. No issues from turn 1. Entire field through. No issue. Heading into the keyhole now for lap 1. Field super, super close to each other.
Pretty much everybody's lined up nose to tail as Michael Coopersmith is being the Pied Piper, leading them down the long back straightaway, heading into turns 3 before they head towards China Beach. We see Christopher Pies taking a look as he heads down in towards China Beach. As he looks to the inside, side-by-side contact has made both cars go wide. That allows Raphael and Marine to get to the race lead.
Race leader's going to be rejoining accidentally here. I hope he doesn't get into trouble as Coopersmith rejoins there somehow safely. I don't know how that happened, but he managed to get back on track, and he's not dropped too far.
He certainly has not.
Eighth place for Coopersmith here as he managed to get back up to pace. I think he's going to come back to this field with a vengeance here after Pies and he collided there. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a review of that move. Replayed out on the screen here as they come in. And we're going to see a move now Pies dives to the inside, and it's a big dive as, oh, I think they both held each other too tight. Hard to really say on that one, but a bit of grass drifting there by Cooper Smith as he mowed the lawn on the outside of China Bend. I think he was halfway to Shanghai on that one.
He certainly was, and as he able to rejoin back over here in the States, he will continue on his way. Michael Coopersmith back up in 7th position. You're right on board with the Hudson Valley region's driver heading into the keyhole once again. Let's see if he can gain some ground on his competitors as the field compresses through the keyhole. He tries to take a peek to the inside to get around none other than Joe Stiffel in that tiger paint scheme as they work their way out of the keyhole heading down the back straightaway.
Very much are, and well, we're waiting for race control's opinion on that little moment. As time by, as Amarim is now leading the way from 3rd place, Pies in 2nd, and Schum in 3rd, Chan in 4th, Huth there. Coop Smith was covered to 7th so far, and he is still very much with this pack, so we could see him fight back here, but he's got to be steaming after that incident.
He certainly has to be, but we'll see what he can do. Sometimes an angry driver, sometimes it's the one you have to watch, and they can come out on top if they play their cards right. So we'll see what he does here in the next 27 minutes as we keep an eye on Rafael Marine leading the way here as they come out of the carousel, out of the final corners to come across the start-finish line right now. It's about 0.8 of a second between him and Christopher Pies. Still keeping an eye on race control to see if there will be any penalties given out between the two drivers of Pies and Cooper Smith, but time will tell as we get going.
Certainly will. We're seeing a lot of guys still in the relative starting positions. In fact, our top 15 largely in position, apart from Leif Peterson, who's up from 10th to 9th. We have, of course, Cooper Smith back a few positions. Stiffel's up 2 positions so far. That's been a big gain for him from 8th place. Otherwise, we're seeing 1s and 2s right now. On lap number 3, we're about 4 minutes into this thing. A little bit more static than we've seen before.
Certainly the case as we keep an eye on this. Watching the battle here, Michael Coopersmith will continue to work his way around Joe Stiffel, but it's going to be difficult for him to see if he can get to the inside yet, because we've seen, Rachel, how difficult it is to pass here at this track. So it's just waiting on those right mistakes by drivers in front of you in order for you to make that pass.
Yeah, it very much is, and those right mistakes are often all it takes, especially when you have a field this good, who are not really likely to give you the line you want.
Right on
forwards here as, yeah, it shows the onboard view there. Leaders of our group coming through. That's Stiffel just ahead of Cooper Smith there in his pork machine. And Jordan Dyer here on board with him. Schlonstein region driver. Look how tight this track is. It may be a road course, but it certainly feels like a street course.
Certainly is. And, you know, we just got done with a street course not too long ago at the Long Beach Street Circuit. And, of course, a couple of other street circuits are coming to the iRacing service here in the not-too-distant future with the Chicago Street Circuit. And I'm pretty sure these Porsches might have quite a bit of fun on that circuit when given the chance to go out there and race. But as we watch these guys come through Mid-Ohio's keyhole turn, and we're on board with James Hugh from the Hutchinson-Champlain region, one of the gentleman drivers, I would like to call, of the PCA Sim Racing Series. He is working his way to see if he can find another spot in getting around Arthur Chan in that number 50. He'll take a peek. Can't quite get to the inside just yet.
Not quite there, but close enough for friends, I think, at this point. Looking to try and make a move when he can. But this track is still very congested by our field. Amrim's starting to build a small gap. It's about a second back to Pies. Pies himself has about, well, half a second to Schum. Schum, 1.3 seconds to Chan back in 4th place, with Huth just behind them, being the first real gap we're seeing in this grouping. Actually, in fact, it's just ahead of Chan where we see that first gap. Field is really tight so far from what we've seen. Only retirement incidents so far. Liam Rizikis is back in 26th from 16th, unfortunately for him, as is Ed Eisenberg in 27th. But a couple of other cars have little moments on their own, but mostly people staying with it and on the track. Looking forward, so we'll go a bit of an incident through the keyhole. So trying to work out who that was there. That was, I believe,
Could have been Siddle?
Yes, it was Siddle. Siddle had a bit of a moment there coming through the keyhole, and he ended up sideways there. It was a little contact with Leif Peterson. Oh, interesting. So that one changes things slightly for him there. I'll have to hope there's no damage there on either car. See the 9 of Peterson there coming through past our S's section. The Maverick region driver pushing hard here. Peterson looking for that 8th place.
Certainly is right now the defending series champion, trying to see if he can continue his reign of consistency here as Mr. Consistency tries to work his way towards the back bumper of Jason Lisner, who Lisner has been a long-time competitor to the PCA. We remember a couple of seasons ago he was in a heated battle with Michael Polasek in the PCA Series 4, if I remember correctly, in the GTE car. So he definitely knows a thing or two about getting around with these Porsches.
Very much does. And he's incredibly busy on the track there for them as we're looking at about 22 minutes left in this race. Peterson looking to try and make some places back here. Cooper Smith even, not Peterson. Still trying to race Joe Stiffel. Stiffel being incredibly quick right now, not giving any openings here, and it's just going to be a huge benefit, Taylor. Stiffel making his car incredibly wide, although an opening for Cooper Smith. Is he going to put it in there? He will go, but I think benefit still goes Stiffel. He has the inside line for the follow-on.
He certainly does. We see Cooper Smith cross over, though, on the outside as they come through the S's. Once again, a great drive for both of them. Of course, Stiffel being very defensive, keeping that car wide like you brought out there, Rachel, where they're coming through Thunder Valley once again. Cooper Smith needs to try to get a better exit to get to that inside of Joe Stiffel in order to make this pass complete. But right now, it is very difficult for the number 22.
I think it is, yes, as he's doing everything he possibly can to keep that car in the right direction, but just a little bit misplaced at the moment, unfortunately. Keeping that car going on as they'll come through now. The wagon wheel here. Leaders pushing up towards the keyhole now. Amram still got a good gap. It's about a second. We're going to look at those interviews now, guys, from club class. So first up is going to be your winner, Robert Rose. Robert, just how was it today?
Oh, it was hard work, sweating. We're all sitting here in the interview room talking about how how hot and how hard we had to work tonight here. It's a track that keeps you on your toes.
Certainly seems that way, and Mid-Ohio, it seemed like traffic was our biggest factor today for you guys. Just how much of an impact did it have?
Luckily for me, in fact, Klaus and I were talking about that a little bit. I kind of really took it easy, I think, on the last couple of laps, probably last lap and a half, because I saw on the relative that, we were catching lap traffic, and I had built up a little bit of a buffer to Klaus, and I really didn't want to tangle with lap traffic, so I kind of used up my buffer there. I didn't personally have to pass any lapped cars on track. I think there was a couple that came out of the pits while I was rounding turn one. But for me, lap traffic really wasn't an issue. I got really, really lucky tonight.
Seems that you definitely did. Anybody like to give a shout out to or thank?
Yeah, PCA Sim Racing, as always. I mean, one heck of a show. I'm sure I can't wait to get up and watch the rest of the class's action. You all for doing what you do. Hagerty Motorsports, Michelin. Obviously, the Operation Motorsports guys. I'm really looking forward to the big race we got this weekend. Hoping everybody will tune in and support, that cause there. TGR Racing is my team. If you want to hop on, pledge it, and throw a couple bucks on Oregon Girl and myself, I'd appreciate it. My family, as always, my wife Amy, my 2 kids, and tonight, the good Lord for making sure the power stayed on. Thunderstorms rolling through here. I was sweating a power outage, but it didn't come, so I'm blessed tonight. Really lucky. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us today. Robert Rose coming home with a win in your club class.
Thank you.
Next up, standing by with Taylor's going to be our third. We have second. We actually have second. I got distracted looking at the interview waiting room, seeing only Velez down there, but it's actually the only Klaus Nielsen.
Yes, indeed. Klaus have a great drive today. Couldn't really catch up to Robert Rose towards the end, but was having a great battle. What was the issue that made you lose that ground?
Well, I think that he just decided that he needed to put a little bit of time between us so I wouldn't get his draft. which is fair. And I was not as fast as him. There was no doubt about it. So he put the 3 seconds between us, and I just worked as hard as I could and stayed about 3 seconds behind all the time, I think.
What do you think was the main goal of this track, especially when you had to approach lap traffic, the points that you had to reference in order to complete those passes on lap traffic? Because that's been one of the talking points all throughout each of the classes here tonight.
Well, one of the benefits in club is that, on a 30-minute race, we barely came up to the lap cars, right? So the only lap or cars that we had to pass that way were people that had an incident, so they came from the pit. And just the fact that we don't have to get around lap cars is just keeping a very calm race out of it. So I think that was great from my perspective. And that speaks a little bit to the group also, that they are all so fast that they can keep up with that.
Well, before we let you go, Klaus, anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
Oh yeah, definitely my family, and especially my wife, that lets me do this stuff here, typically right around dinner time, and letting me do it, and coming back and get something off the table after that, and then definitely you guys making it all happen, the PCA Sim Racing committees, and our sponsors, Michelin in this case here. And last but not least, my team, Matrix Motorsports. We have a great time preparing every week, so I really appreciate that.
Of course, that is Klaus Nielsen coming home in second position here today in the club class, and Rachel has caught up with our final podium finisher.
Certainly have. Julian Velez, looks like you had a lot of friends with you on those last couple of laps who all wanted to beat you.
I certainly did. I definitely got a little lax, and when I heard 10 minutes, I looked down and I realized that I had a guy a second behind me. So I needed to pull myself back together and start pushing forward again, and yeah, boy did they keep me honest.
Certainly seems like they did. It's got to be tense having that many cars behind you.
Oh yeah, I think, at first I only saw Mario, and the next thing I know, I think there was 2 or 3 guys behind him, and I was kind of hoping that they were giving him enough pressure that he'd lay off me a bit, but yeah, he kept pushing on, and I just had to keep my head down and take these turns the way they need to be taken without wrecking myself.
Well, you managed to do exactly that, Julian. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or thank?
Yes, big thank you to my wife that, allows me to take the time to do this, and thank you guys and PCA for giving me something to spend my off time on. This has really been a pleasure. Racing along with all these guys has really been a pleasure, and I really can't ask for more. I really thank you all.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us, Julian Velez. Incredible race tonight. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
Well, guys, that was our interviews, and we are going to segue straight on into that midway race break here in your Pro class. Brought to you, of course, as always, by Porsche. Porsche's more than a sports car. It's a way of life for all of us, and we appreciate their support of the PCA Sim Racing Series as the Pro class sponsor. With the recent sub-7-minute lap at the Nürburgring in the GT3 and the arrival of the all-new 992 GT3 Cup car to the US, Porsche's dedication to motorsports is stronger than ever. Find out more about Porsche at www.porsche.com. With that in mind, let's take a look at who is where. Right now, it's Rafael Amram leading the way in the 13 car. Lucky today, it seems. Peach State region driver with Zone 3, starting in 30s in first right now. The man in second is Christopher Pies. 14 car, Lone Star region driver with Zone 5. Having a good race today. Second place where he started, but very nearly was first until a bit of an incident earlier on. James Huth is in third place, the Hudson Champlain region driver of Zone 1 in that 12 car. Doing a good job today. He is up 2 spots from 5th. Fourth place is Joe Stiffel. Today? Yes, Stiffel in the 003, the Chicago region driver from Zone 13, up 4 spots from 8th. Great movement. Michael Coopersmith, your original pole sitter, is regaining positions here up to 5th from where he started in 8th after the incident earlier on. He's the 22 car from the Hudson Valley region of zone number 1, and he's pretty hungry looking at how he's moving through the traffic. P6, Jason Listener, the first settlers region of zone 2, up 3 spots from 9 where he started today's race in that 92 car. Up 3 spots from 10th is Leif Peterson of the Maverick region, zone 5 in that 913. Leif is pushing hard here. He's at a busy race too. Looks to be trying to gain what he can. 8th place is Jordan Dyer from the Schlonsound region of zone 10. The 23 car is up 6 spots from 14th. Arthur Chan from Canada West region of zone 6. The 50 car is down 3 places from where he started. Traffic has been unkind. William Anderson in that 10th place in P10. 41 car from the Longhorn region of zone number 5. He's up 1 spot from 11th. Rich Minkler is in the 11th spot here from 13th. So up to the Rocky Mountain region driver of zone 9 in that 76 car. Matthew Siddle is in the 12th spot here. Down 5 from 7th, unfortunately for him. A busy race in that Lone Star region zone 5 driver in that 55 car. Chris Brown is in 13th from 17th, up 4 there for him. The 258 Northeast region driver of zone number 1. And Chris Walsh in 14th. He is in the 104 as he makes a big pass there up the inside here at China Bend. That's going to go a bit deep, but he holds on to it in that beautiful Warbird livery there. The Carolinas region driver from zone 3. Taylor?
In the 15th spot, we're going to go to Mark Huth right now from the St. Louis region, the HBR Porsche, working his way, watching the battle between Chris Braun and Chris Walsh, the battle of the two Chris's as they work their way through Thunder Valley. A great drive for them. As we go a little further back in there, Al Burke now holds on to the 15th spot from the Upper Canada regions, car 169, having a quiet night after starting 19th, gaining 3 spots. 16th position goes to Stephen Chen from the Diablo region, car number 8. That blue and red Porsche working his way through the field after starting in 20th spot. 17th position is Rick Reisenberg from the Diablo region. The 2 Diablo drivers going at it here as they come through turn number 1. Of course, Reisenberg started 22nd, has moved up to 17th, so a great drive for him. 18th position is Jacob Schoon from the Carolinas region, representing the Carolinas region for the special event coming up. Started 4th, but unfortunately sits in 18th, so a tough break for the Carolina driver. 19th position is, of course, Matthew Siddle from the Lone Star region. Started 7th. He's fallen back to that 19th spot after some incidents coming out of the keyhole. We'll see if he can make a recovery here today. Side-by-side battle for 20th between Liam Rodzitis as well as Trey Drawhorn as they head down the back straightaway towards China Beach. Liam from the Upper Canada region holds on to the inside as they dive it down. 21st is Trey Drawhorn from the Chicago region. 22nd is Carlos Lopez in car number 18 from the Maverick region, another Texan trying to work his way through the field. Started 27th and has had a great run, gaining 5 spots since the drop of the green flag. 23rd position is Jason Stanley, another Texan from the Lone Star region. Started in 12th. He's fallen back in the 23rd spot, so a tough break for him. Christian Rava from the Suncoast, Florida region is in 24th after starting in 25th, so 1 spot gain for the driver. 25th is none other than Jonathan Schoon, of course, from the Carolinas region, so a quiet night for him, losing 2 spots at the start of the race. 26th is Richard Franco from the Potomac region. A little bit of damage to the nose of that car, 173 Porsche. Tough break for him after starting in 24th, as he is the last car on the lead lap. And Ed Eisenring is the first car 1 lap down, and the last car, 27th from the Pacific Northwest region.
Certainly is. Well, busy race out of the track at the moment for these guys, as it has been quite hectic for us. We're looking at some pretty stable positioning right now from what we've seen, as we've got some racing here on track side by side here with Listener and Steffel as they head through the S's here. It's 2 by 2 by 2. Steffel's going to hold on and just keep that car forward there. Listener stuck his nose. He's back again, and he's going to try and put it up there. Should maybe see advantage here into the wagon wheel if he can hold that position. He can't. Here comes Leif Peterson as well. 3 by 3, 2-car contact. Oh, that got hectic as we saw Stiffle bite the dust. That Tiger bit him, I think.
Certainly did right there. Looks like the Tiger bit the hand that fed him this time as he loops it around, but unfortunately will drop back to about 15th position for the 003 of Joe Stiffel. We'll continue on as we keep an eye on the race lead right now between Pies and Amarine as they head down the back straightaway coming out of the keyhole towards China Beach. The gap between the two drivers, 0.6 of a second and closing as they work their way through. Christopher Pies currently holds the fastest lap of the race with a 1:23.623. Amarine has a 1:23.655. So they're running close to identical lap times for the most part, Rachel, but still a close battle as we know. But Raphael has to be careful because he is quick, but he has been prone to make mistakes late in the going.
He has, but we'll have to keep an eye on how this plays forwards here because it's going to be very difficult to keep this track as busy as it's looking right now. We're seeing Leif Peterson leading a group here of listener Dyer Chan in a foursome around the track as things just keep getting busier and busier for them. Coming up Thunder Alley. Where's Amrit? Oh, being chased closely by Christopher Pies, half a second apart for the leaders. And behind them is Huthert and Coopersmith, who are in third and fourth. Coopersmith fighting back here. Looks like he could almost recover a podium at the moment, so that might be for spicy interviews after this race. But it's this foursome we're keeping our eyes on here. Peterson, Listener, Dyer, and Chan all over each other. 7 minutes left on the clock here in your Pro Class race, brought to you by Porsche. And they are all still so much up for grabs. All positions almost.
Certainly is the case right now, Rachel, as we watch these Porsches battle it out here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, working their way through the keyhole as they work down the long back straightaway towards China Beach. And Rachel, you know, it's amazing to see how Porsche continues their pinnacle of motorsports racing, you know, with the recent announcement about the LMDH program not too long ago. And of course, with the knowing of the new GT3 Cup car that's now been a part of the Porsche North American Challenge Series at IMSA, it's great to see that Porsche is still going to continue their motorsports heritage to the best of their ability, especially in the new age of sports car racing.
It very much is, and the new age of sports car racing is definitely one that's going to be super exciting. We're seeing such huge developments in that field, and it's only making the racing much, much more intense. We can't wait to see what comes, of course, and how this unfolds. The new Porsche, of course, is going to be a huge one for that. The 992 GT3 is a cutting-edge machine. It's going to change the face of how we see this stuff, and manufacturers are going to have to kind of keep up with that.
It certainly is, Rachel, as we watch these 911 GT3 Cup cars, which we've seen are currently what we will see on this service, as well as the older classes in the current Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Series here in North America. But if I remember correctly, when they did the season finale for the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup, there was talk about the new 992 GT3 Cup car being included to the iRacing service in the future. We don't know when, but sounds like we will have multiple Porsches coming to the iRacing service. Of course, the newest one we just always see on our commercial breaks, the new 911 GT3R. But as we watch this battle for third between Hugh and Coopersmith right now, Michael is in hot pursuit. He wants a shot at another podium and seeing if he can gain that ground needed to get around James Hughes. You're on board with the Hudson Valley driver of Coopersmith through Thunder Valley. They go. The Pink Pig versus the HBR Porsche as they come through Thunder Valley once again.
They absolutely do, and it's still so close. It's almost impossible to call here. These guys are still absolutely raring for this fight. Coopersmith one is, I'm super excited to see what happens here. Can he claw back a podium? I think the gap is about 7 seconds right now to your leaders, so unlikely to see, I think, them challenge for that lead, but Coopersmith's looking fast here, and Pies can't quite close that gap, and Amaru is still about half a second.
Certainly is right now, and keeping an eye on those two. We have a battle for the race lead, and we have a battle for the final step of the podium here as we keep an eye on these two great battles. And of course, that battle, as we see Hughes go wide, that allows Coopersmith to get to the inside. He is now up to third position. The Pink Pig is on the hunt now as he sets its sight on Christopher Pies, his rival for today's race. And he has a little bit of work to do. He's about 7.9 to about 8 seconds back. But of course, with Raphael Amarine and Christopher Pies battling for the race lead, that could bring in Coopersmith. He just might not have enough time, though.
I think time will be our deciding factor in this one today. It's just running down faster than I think some of these guys would like it to be. The way things are looking, 3 minutes 40 on the clock. Amram and Pye looking super, super tight, but Cooper Smith in third. This will make for a spicy interview, I think, after the race, if he can hold that position. Leif Peterson holding on from Listener, Dyer, and Chan. That one's so close. It's just, breathtaking racing out here.
Very breathtaking racing we see right now here, Rachel, in these closing minutes as they work their way through Thunder Valley. You see Cooper Smith working his way, pulling away from James Hughes as we watch this battle for the 5th spot between Peterson, Lisner, Dyer. Very strong competitors throughout the PCA competition as they come across the start-finish line heading into turn 1.
Certainly are, and it's no change yet for these guys. Look a bit back further to our field of what's going on. We've got a threesome here with Anderson, Minkler, and Walsh running in the 9th, 10th, and 11th spots. Chris Brown is running with Mark Huth there. Al Burke on his own behind them. Stiffel running with Chen in 15th and 16th here. We've got Schum and Rizikis running on their own with Lopez, also a lonely driver. Jason Stanley doing the same thing. Trey Drawhorn has gained some positions back from his earlier incident. He's in 21st right now. We've got Rauver and Schumer running together there with Siddle and Reisenberg just behind him. Franco on his own, as is Eisenring. So the entire field's still running here, which is a first for the night's races. The entirety of the pro race. Oh, there's someone has a huge amount of smoke there. Goes sliding off the track. I think that was looking to be Drawhorn. Unfortunate for Trey Drawhorn. He got a little smoky there and went wide, but he managed to keep it out of the barriers and keep running.
Fan favorite of the PCA. Everyone talks about Trey Drawhorn, but unfortunately not the night he's looking for to put on a good show for his fans as one car goes off into China Beach, heading over to Shanghai. As we see, I believe that might have been, I think it was one of the lap cars, possibly, if not, Ed Eisenring, actually, who went off the 929 Porsche, so a tough break for him as he tries to get out of the beach back onto the black pavement.
Yeah, it's definitely not what he wanted to have happen, but he's still running at least, which keeps our metric there intact. Pies and Amarin, what's the gap? 0.2 of a second right now. Pies is closing in here. We're looking at 1 minute 24 left, so this will be our white flag lap as we're coming up to it now. 1 lap left. Will he make a dive? Cooper Smith, he's opening that gap on Huth. It's looking pretty stable there, but the forces behind them, Peterson, Listener, Dyer, and Chan, are absolutely on top of each other, and this looks so close.
It certainly does. 4 cars battling for a top 5 finish here tonight at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Leif Peterson, Mr. Consistency, looking to keep his consistent run to have a shot of another championship to defend it. Holds on to that 5th spot. We keep an eye still on the battle for the race lead as they will take the white flag this time around, as we see the flagmen waving vigorously to that white flag to Amarine and Christopher Pies through turn 1 for the final time.
Certainly does, as here comes the foursome as well. Cooper Smith as well across the line with Huth, Peterson, Listener, Dyer, and Chan come through. Last lap here at Mid-Ohio, and it's a bit of a wide run there for Amarim through the keyhole, but he holds a big gap and actually draws time on Pies. This should be a huge advantage because it won't allow Pies to close in before China Bend. This could be Amarim's race here. Coming into China Bend, they'll come through. The gap is actually significant now. It's looking like over half a second at the moment for them. Cooper Smith has opened his gap as well. Peterson as well as them. So the 3 defenders still holding strong. Listener and Dyer. Dyer looking at Listener actually for position here. Coming into those final moments now. Everything's still to play for. Amarim has got a good gap as they come through Thunder Alley. Up to the wagon wheel. Across that blind cresting left. It leads you into setup, but runs wide. Pies runs it a bit wide. Has to back off the throttle to keep it on the track. He knows he's got about 9 seconds to play with here, so he'll just give up on that run for the win. We'll take a comfortable 2nd place here. Exactly where he... Oh, no.
Is he out of fuel?
Slow. I think he's out of fuel. He's not going to make it.
Here comes Cooper Smith.
He'll pass him. He'll pass him. Cooper Smith passes for the 2nd place position. What? Just... Oh, no. That was an honor move. That was an honor move by Christopher Pies. He has got plenty of fuel. Christopher Pies there gave the position up. This is a level of sportsmanship here in the PCA. He recognized their incident earlier on. He saw how close Coopersmith was. He gave him the position. You saw how he accelerated though before he could get across the line? That was respectful, Christopher Pies. I like that.
I think we might have to give the Gentleman Award now to Christopher Pies after that.
I think we do. That was hugely respectful as we had a clunk in the last corner there. You're seeing on your screens. That was good move. Good move. It wasn't
Big round of
the
applause.
first position he deserved, but yeah, we'll give you a round of applause. There we go. I'm going to clap by hitting my forearm because I can't get my hand off the mic button here. The rest of our field coming across the line now. That's everybody. Let's go to those post-race results and get those interviews up for you. Coming home with the win tonight, Raphael Amarim puts it in the right place. Comes home with the win there from zone number 3. Zone number 1's Michael Coopersmith comes home in second from zone 1, and zone 5's Christopher Pies in third after the most gentlemanly act I think I've seen so far at Sim Racing. And it was close because he nearly gave up third as well to James Huth, so it was a tiny gap. Behind him, fourth, James Huth. Fifth place, Leif Peterson. Sixth place is Jason Listener with Jordan Dyer, Arthur Chan, Chris Walsh and William Anderson. 11th place will be Rich Minkler. Chris Braun in 12th, Mark Hughes in 13th, Al Burke in 14th, with Jacob Shum in 15th. Rest of those positions on your screen here. Gotta say, wasn't expecting that. Let's have a chat to Raphael Amarim. Well, Raphael, a busy race for you today, coming from third to win the race. Gotta be huge for you. Raphael, you with us? Well, that was a little unfortunate. We seem to have lost your race leader, so we'll try and get him back in a moment. But first up, Taylor standing by with Michael Coopersmith.
Here as we get him up into the booth, Michael Coopersmith, I would have to say the drive of the day for you, Michael, with a great battle, even with that small incident on the opening lap between you and Chris. You were able to refocus and just claw your way back up to second place. Your thoughts on your race here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thrilled with the incident, obviously, at the beginning. But like you said, I just kind of put my head down, tried to focus and do the best that I could. And I tried to just put it behind me. And, I knew thinking about it wasn't going to help anything. So.
Your thoughts on what Christopher Pies did, though, coming to the checkered flag?
Well, I think there was plenty of time for him to try to make a move. He's got really good pace and a lot of talent. So, I just kind of wish he'd waited a little bit longer to try to make a move. And also if he does make a move, maybe give me a little bit more room. I felt like I kind of got pushed off the track there. I'll have to watch the replay though, just to really see exactly what happened. But from my point of view, it just felt like I kind of got pushed off the track. I didn't really have anywhere to go. So it's unfortunate, and hopefully we can keep it clean next time.
Well, before we let you go, Michael, anyone you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, everyone at PCA, our sponsors, Hagerty and Porsche. I'd like to thank my family, my mother, my dad, all my friends and family who support me, and of course, you guys in the broadcast room do such a great job.
Of course, that is Michael Coopersmith coming home in second place in your PCA Pro class. And let's get Raphael Amarim, and Rachel is with him now.
So yeah, Raphael, congratulations on the win tonight. A busy race for you, certainly, and you were kept honest by Christopher Pies all race long. Do we have Raphael finally? Do we actually have him with us? Could be an issue for Raphael, so we'll bounce him back downstairs and we'll get third place instead, who is also, well, I'll take third place. Christopher Pies coming home today with third place, although it was very much nearly second. Christopher, do tell.
Yeah, so at the beginning on the first lap, I'm sure you guys saw Coopersmith and I got into him a little bit. He surprised me with his brake point a little bit, and I did everything I could to try to miss everything. I still made the corner somehow. But I felt because of the contact and on first lap, and I don't like to make moves like that, I felt like the right thing to do was to give the place back there at the end.
A very honourable move, and we certainly applaud that here. Overall, a busy race, though. You seem to be really struggling to get past Raphael. You were super close almost the entire race, but just couldn't find the door.
Yeah, Raphael drove a fantastic race. Kudos on him. I think this is his first win. I'm not totally sure, but if it is, fantastic. If it's not, well, it's just another one to add to his trophy case. But he ran a really solid race. I was trying to get and fill his mirrors up to maybe encourage a mistake, but no, he stayed fast. He drove a hell of a race.
Certainly did. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Porsche Exchange, Denton Brothers Racing, Casey Carden Motorsports, and my family for putting up with me in this hobby. And thank you guys for putting this on week after week. You guys do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us, Christopher Pies, and we're going to hopefully have a quick chat with Raphael Amarim if we can actually get him to join us this time by. So we will see for the third time. Raphael, do we have you?
Hello, can you hear me now?
We have him! Yes! We have him! Raphael, well,
difficulties here.
Welcome to the booth. First off, congratulations. Is this your first win?
It's my first win at the pro class. I've had, I think, one or two at the club class, and yeah, it's been thrilling. And got a bit lucky there in the beginning with Chris and Michael, but it's been a great race.
Hey, motor racing is all about luck. It's not it's not about, oh no, to finish first, you must first finish. And
exactly.
In this case, you ended up out front and you got the positioning, but it's not as though it was handed to you. You were kept honest all race long by Christopher Pies. Just how stressful was it?
Quite stressful. Chris kept me on my toes. He's just so fast, and I kind of had to give the everything I had and a little bit more to try and stay ahead of him. And I'm just so happy that it all worked out in the end.
It certainly did. Anybody like to give a shout out to or thank?
Well, as always, to everyone that organizes, to you and everyone at Podium, also to the sponsors, Porsche and Michelin, Hagerty, and yeah, just to kind of everyone that's participating on this that makes this so much fun. And as always, a big thank you to my wife that supports me through all of this.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Raphael Amarim coming on today with the win and his first in the Pro Series. Well, it has been an incredible day of racing here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. What a day we have seen here. Don't forget to join us next week for Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, one of my personal favorites, on the 9th or 2nd of June. I'll get those numbers right eventually. Don't forget, of course, this weekend, I'm sure my producer's about to tell me exact start time. You can join us for the Operation Motorsports charity event. As I wait for my producer to tell me the exact start time, which isn't in our document. Oh, he's typing it. Okay. Welcome to Preparation. 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the PCA Sim Racing YouTube channel. You can catch all of the action from historic Le Mans for the great charity and the great effort that is Operation Motorsports. Join us then. Excite, engage, and empower. Well, for Doug Atkinson, Jim Hemmick, and the steering committee at the PCA Sim Racing Series, for James Pike, Gary Sexton, Cisco Scaramuza, and John Theodore at Podium Esports, and for our producer Ryan Bauer and my colleagues Ricky Springer and Taylor Burris, I'm Richard Wyford. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of PCA Sim Racing, presented by Hagerty. We hope you'll join us next Wednesday live from Mosport. We'll see you then.